Emo shouting glanced at him and said coldly, I'm afraid second elder Zhao has misunderstood. The Emo family doesn't agree to this marriage. Feng Chao has just returned to the Emo family. We can't bear to let her get married so early. What? Second elder Zhao and Emo Cheng were stunned. Emo shouting didn't agree to this marriage? Was he stupid? How could he not want such a big piece of meat? Father, what? What did you say? How could you not agree to such a good marriage? Emo Cheng asked in disbelief as he stood up. How dare you? Do you have the final say or do I have the final say? This marriage is not going to happen. Emo shouting shouted angrily. Second elder Zhao's face turned ashen. Good, very good. Family head Emo is really stubborn. If that's the case from now on, the Zhao family will not sell even a single talisman to the Emo family. Emo Cheng heard this and his hands immediately went numb. Second elder Zhao, please go back to the guest house and calm down. I will try to persuade my father. Don't worry, I will definitely convince him. He must not have thought things through yet. Although second elder Zhao was furious, he did not want to return in defeat. He held back his anger and left. Father, I have something to tell you. Please ask everyone else to leave. Emo Cheng said to Emo shouting as he glared at Yun Chuzhou. Seeing Emo Cheng's serious expression, Emo shouting gently said to Yun Chuzhou, Feng Chao, you should go back first. Don't worry, grandfather will not agree to this marriage. Yun Chuzhou nodded and hopped off. The man was confused. Emo Cheng seemed to be well prepared. What exactly did he want to say to the old fox? The next morning, Yun Chuzhou and Emo Fangqin arrived at Emo Ziyading's study room. Yun Chuzhi's heart sank. Emo Ziyading's expression turned cold and distant. What did Emo Cheng say to change the old fox's attitude? Fangqin, you can go back now. You don't have to come to the study room anymore. Emo shouting said with a cold expression. Although Emo Fangqin was confused, she did not dare to say anything else. She gave Yun Chuzhou a look of self-hope and retreated. Emo shouting glanced at Yun Chuzhou. He sighed. Fangqin, grandfather is going back on his word. It's not that grandfather doesn't keep his word, but the Zhao family has said something ruthless. If I don't marry you, not only will they not provide us with talismans, they will also cut off our supplies of satin and pills. If that's the case, the Emo family will collapse. So you should marry them. Yun Chuzhi's heart sank. As expected, something unexpected had happened. However, she did not believe Emo Ziyading's reason. Although the Zhao family could control the talisman business, they did not have the ability to control the other families. Moreover, the Emo family still had a backup plan, and that was the Emo family from the East Continent. Unless the Zhao family was provoked, they would not be so ruthless. Emo Ziyading's sudden change of mind must have something to do with what Emo Cheng said. What exactly did he say? Although Xiao He had dug holes in Emo Cheng's study room and bedroom, he did not hear what Emo Cheng had said. He only heard Emo Cheng and Luo Shi say that he was confident that he could convince Emo shouting. Yun Chuzhou knew that begging was useless. The only thing that could change Emo Ziyading's mind was enough benefits. He had to be so greedy that he did not care about what Emo Cheng said. Grandfather, I understand what you're saying, but this news is too sudden. Can you give me a day to recover? If you listen to me and decide to let me marry you tomorrow morning, I will obediently follow your arrangements, Yun Chuzhou said pitifully. Emo shouting saw the pitiful expression on Yun Chuzhi's face and the last bit of conscience in his heart woke up. He sighed, fine, I'll give you 1 day. But don't think about running away. With your weak spiritual power, leaving the Emo family is just asking for death. Grandfather, I'm not stupid. How could I run away? You can continue with your work, I'll take my leave now. Okay, let's go back. Emo shouting couldn't help but sigh in his heart. It was rare to see such a calm personality. Unfortunately, he couldn't keep this little girl. As soon as Yun Chuzhou heard he Xian, Emo Fangqin ran over. Big sis, what did grandfather say to you? Did he agree to let you marry him again? Yun Chuzhou nodded. That's right. Grandfather has changed his mind. How can this be? This is too much. Elder sister, what should we do now? Are you really going to marry him? There must be something wrong with this marriage. If not, the Luo clan would have let Emo Fanghua marry him. Emo Fangqin said angrily. Don't be anxious. I've bought grandfather a day. I'll think of a way. Yun Chujo said calmly. Elder sister, I really admire you. Even at this moment you are still so calm. Panicking won't solve the problem. Go back first, I'll think about it. Mo Fangqin had no choice but to walk out. The worry in her heart was no less than Yun Chujia's. On one hand, she was worried about Yun Chujia's safety. After all, they had already formed a friendship after spending so much time together. On the other hand, she was worried about her and Auntie Chio's safety. Once Yun Chujo married out, the Luo clan would definitely settle the score with Auntie Chio. They would definitely be further tormented by her and Auntie Chio. Yun Chujo sat in front of her desk, her chin resting on her hand as she tried to think of a solution. The plain brocade had earned 1.5 billion, yet it was not enough to change his mind. This meant that the matter Mo Chang was talking about must be very important. What exactly did he say? Yun Chujia's head hurt as she thought about it. She could not figure out what Mo Chang was talking about. Forget it. No matter what he said, Mo Xiaoting's eyes were only focused on benefits. As long as the benefits were big enough, no matter what Mo Chang said, he would definitely change his mind. Otherwise, he could just tell the old fox that she knew how to create talismans. No, this method could not be used unless it was absolutely necessary. The side effects were too great. But, if he didn't use this method, how could he change Mo Xiaoting's mind? Yun Chujo had been racking her brains. She did not even have lunch. Mo Fangqin was also worried. Seeing that Yun Chujo did not eat, she did not eat either. Big sister, you have already earned 1.5 billion for grandfather, and he still wants to marry you off. How can he be so greedy? Could it be that he wants you to earn 15 billion for him before he is satisfied? Mo Fangqin said angrily. Yun Chujo had a flash of inspiration in her mind. She hugged Mo Fangqin and said happily, "Third sister, what you said makes sense. If 1.5 billion doesn't work, we will earn 15 billion for him. If 15 billion doesn't work, we will earn 150 billion for him." Mo Fangqin was scared silly. Big sister, are you alright? What nonsense are you talking about? I'm not talking nonsense, what you said makes sense. As long as I can make enough money for grandfather, he won't marry me off. The reason why he changed his mind was that this 1.5 billion was not enough to move him. I'm going to write a plan now, a plan that can make countless 1.5 billion, Yun Chujo said confidently. Mo Fangqin only had one thought in her mind. The country bumpkin had gone crazy. Mo Fangqin cursed silently in her heart. This country bumpkin was simply daydreaming. Although she was quite smart, there were some tricks that worked this time but wouldn't work the next time. Not to mention the countless 1.5 billion, even earning another 1.5 billion was unlikely. Third sister, come, I'll read you to write. Let's draw a grand blueprint of the Mo family's development for grandfather, Yun Chujo said excitedly. Mo Fangqin cursed in her heart. I think you're drawing a big cake. Can this work? However, Mo Fangqin quickly changed her mind. The expression on her face changed from indifference to excitement. In the end, her hands began to tremble. Third sister, if you continue to tremble, this word will become an earthworm, Yun Chujo said with a laugh. Big sister, why are there so many strange ideas in your head? Mo Fangqin felt that the country bumpkin was simply not human. How did these ideas come out? Yun Chujo smiled smugly. Che, what's the big deal? I can write 100 copies of such a plan without duplicating it. This fellow cursed in his heart. This kind of promotion method like buy one, get one free, or membership card was definitely the only one in the Immortal Essence continent. He was not afraid that the old fox would not be tempted. Yun Chujo and Mo Fangqin modified and finally completed the plan. Third sister, what do you think? Do you think this plan will satisfy grandfather? Big sister, grandfather should be satisfied. However, aren't you afraid that grandfather will kill the donkey? Your plan is very detailed. Grandfather can also let others handle it. Mo Fangqin said worriedly. Third sister, don't worry. Grandfather is greedy. He will not satisfy this plan. I'm like that money tree. Grandfather is reluctant to cut it down. Mo Fangqin thought about it and felt that what Yun Chujo said made sense. Who would kill a golden egg-laying chicken? The next morning, Yun Chujo hopped over to see Mo Xiaoting. To her surprise, Emo Chung was also there. The reason why Emo Chung had come so early was because of Luo Shi's idea. Husband, that girl Fang Chao is full of schemes. You should go and keep an eye on her. Don't let father be fooled by her again. Emo Chung felt that what Luo Shi said made sense, so he came early to keep watch. Emo Shouting naturally knew what he was planning. However, ever since he heard Emo Cheng's words, he had already made up his mind to let Yun Chujiu marry him, so he did not say anything about Emo Cheng's actions. Greetings, grandfather and father. Yun Chujiu greeted the two with a smile. Emo Chung noticed the smile on Yun Chujiu's face and felt it was an eyesore. He scoffed, "You're about to get married, yet you still can't walk properly. Who would be interested in a daughter-in-law like you? Wouldn't it be better if you weren't interested? I happen to be staying with my grandmother and grandfather for the rest of my life." Yun Chujiu's smile grew brighter. In your dreams. Whether you marry or not, you still have to marry. Emo Chung said angrily. Yun Chujiu ignored him and said to Emo Shouting, "Grandfather, I wrote something for you yesterday after I got back." Emo Shouting nodded. He took the few pages from Yun Chujiu and began to read them casually. Emo Shouting frowned slightly when he saw the title, Emo Family's Business Development Plan? This little girl's tone was really arrogant. Emo Chung stretched his neck and saw the title as well. He pursed his lips. Business Development Plan? Aren't you afraid that the wind will fan your tongue? Dad, don't waste your time. What useful things can she write? Emo Shouting did not think much of it, but he continued to read patiently. Emo Chung noticed that Emo Shouting was ignoring him, so he turned to look at Yun Chujiu. Never in his wildest dreams did he expect Yun Chujiu to wink at him. It was obvious that she was mocking him. Emo Cheng's mind went blank for a moment. Then he flew into a rage out of humiliation. Unfilial daughter. You bastard. How dare you disrespect me? I'm going to teach you a lesson. Father, what are you talking about? How can you accuse me? Grandfather, help. My father is going to beat me to death. Yun Chujiu yelled. Emo Shouting was engrossed in the scene when he heard the argument between the two men. He looked up and saw Emo Chung rolling up his sleeves as he tried to hit Yun Chujiu. He couldn't help but slap the table. Second brother. Do you think nothing of me? Stop. Emo Chung was so angry that his face turned red. Father, you have no idea. This unfilial daughter just winked at me. She is disobedient and unfilial. Shut up. If you continue to spout nonsense, get out. Emo Shouting said impatiently. He was anxious to read the rest of the content. Besides, he did not believe that Yun Chujiu would be bold enough to provoke Emo Chung. Hearing Emo Zaiting's words, Emo Chung had no choice but to suppress his anger and not pursue the matter any further. Yun Chujiu blinked her eyes. With her back facing Emo Shouting, she winked at Emo Chung and said, "Hit me? Unfilial daughter. You're courting death." Emo Chung was already filled with anger. How could he hold it in? Grandfather. Help. Has my father gone crazy? Yun Chujiu ran to Emo Zaiting's side, screaming for help. Emo Shouting looked up and saw Emo Chung rushing over with gritted teeth. He picked up his teacup and threw it at Emo Chung. Get lost. You useless thing. Father, it was this wretched girl who provoked me. Don't look at her rubbish. Hurry up and set a date and marry this troublemaker. Emo Chung was about to go crazy. Get out. We can talk about the marriage later. Emo Zaiting's mind was focused on the few pieces of paper in his hands. He had no time to deal with Emo Chung. Seeing that Emo Shouting had lost his temper, Emo Chung had no choice but to leave unwillingly. He hated his unfilial daughter in his heart. Just you wait, she'll make you suffer. Yun Chujiu was pleased. Little brat, can't I anger you to death? The reason why Yun Chujiu deliberately provoked Emo Chung was to get rid of him. Otherwise, when she and Emo Shouting were discussing serious matters later, Emo Chung might ruin everything. After a while, Emo Shouting carefully put down the few pages of paper in his hands. In his eyes, these few pages were countless spirit stones. They were the Emo family's bright future. Fang Chao, did you write all these? Emo Shouting tried his best to remain calm, but his voice was still a little shaky. Grandfather, I came up with most of these. Some of them were perfected by third sister. Apart from that, I have some immature ideas and plans. I will tell you after I have perfected them. The reason Yun Chujo mentioned Mo Fangqin was to help Mo Fangqin brush her face. This way it would be beneficial to her future plans. As for the last sentence, the meaning was obvious. If you let me get married, then you can forget about your future plans. Mo shouting nodded his head. He was conflicted. If it wasn't for Mo Chang's words yesterday, he would not have hesitated to keep Yun Chujo. But if that incident were to be leaked, how would things end? Yun Chujo did not rush him. She knew that Mo shouting would definitely give up on the Zhao family's marriage. The reason was simple. No one wanted to be controlled by others. Moreover, the Zhao family's promises were still to be tested. They might break the contract in a few years, so the Mo family had no choice. However, it was different if Yun Chujo was left behind. Yun Chujo was just a little girl, so she could not compete with the Mo family. The Mo family had always held the initiative. Finally, Mo shouting let out a long sigh and said, "Fang Chao, if grandfather married you to the Zhao family, would you hate him?" "Grandfather, I understand your difficulties. I don't hate anyone. If you want to blame someone, then blame me for not having enough power to help the Mo family." Yun Chujo said calmly. In reality, she was already cursing Mo shouting in her heart. Fuck being a bitch and setting up a memorial tablet was referring to people like you. Shameless. Mo shouting nodded his head in satisfaction. Then, he laughed. "Fang Chao, everything grandfather has done, including marrying you to the Zhao family, was a test for you. Grandfather was very satisfied with your performance. Don't worry, how could he not care about your wishes and marry you to the Zhao family? Grandfather, I knew you were the best to me." Sop Sobiam so touched. Yun Chujia's eyes turned red as she said gratefully. In reality, she was cursing him in her heart. "Pooey, you shameless old man. Aren't you ashamed of yourself for saying this? Isn't it just acting? Let's see which one of us has the best acting skills." The two acting types continued to act for a while before Mo shouting finally said, "Fang Chao, you can go back first. I'll go and get rid of the Zhao family." "Thank you, grandfather." That second elder Zhao has a high and mighty tone. Just looking at him is disgusting. You don't have to give him face. In the future, the Mo family will definitely trample the Zhao family under our feet. The reason why Yun Chujo said this was to sow discord. When Mo shouting saw the arrogant look on second elder Zhao's face, he would definitely be even more displeased. Yun Chujo left the study room. As soon as she arrived at the door, she saw Mo Chang waiting for her. Mo Chang glared at Yun Chujo and walked into the courtyard with a cold snort. Yun Chujo pursed her lips. The old fox had already made up his mind. There was no point for Mo Chang to say anything else. Mo Chang saw Mo shouting and quickly said, "Father, that bitch is full of evil intentions. Don't fall for her tricks. Second elder Zhao is still waiting for you. Let's hurry up and set a date." Fang Chao is a business genius that only appears once every 10,000 years. She can bring much more value than the Zhao family. I will not agree to the Zhao family's marriage. Don't mention it again. Dad? What are you talking about? That unfilial daughter is a business genius? How is that possible? Mo Chung looked at Mo shouting in disbelief. She is 10,000 times stronger than the three of you. This matter is settled. Also, the things you told me yesterday, I want you to keep them in your stomach. Dad, what? What do you mean? I will focus on nurturing the grass. From now on, she is the same as the three of you. She has the right to inherit the Mo family. So, if you dare to reveal what you said yesterday, don't blame me for being merciless. Mo Chung was shocked by Mo Xiaoding's cold gaze. Although he wasn't convinced, he didn't dare to say anything else. He hated Yun Chujo to death. It was all because of this rebellious daughter. She was truly a disaster. Mo shouting asked someone to invite second elder Zhao to the living room. However, second elder Zhao was still acting high and mighty. Second elder Zhao, after careful consideration, the Mo family still can't bear to let the grass grow on our side get married so early. So we won't be trying to climb up the social ladder. Emo shouting did not want to offend the Zhao family, so he spoke in a polite tone. Hearing this, second elder Zhao immediately flew into a rage out of humiliation. Master Emo, are you playing with the Zhao family? Repeated over and over again, this is outrageous. Seeing his attitude, Emo shouting thought of what Yun Chujo had said. His face darkened. Second elder Zhao, your words are too biased. When did I, Emo shouting, ever agree to Feng Chao's marriage? Besides, this marriage is to marry two families, not to make enemies. What kind of attitude is this? Master Emo, your second son asked someone to marry his daughter to our Zhao family. That's why we came here to get engaged. Now that you've gone back on your words, your Emo family has gone back on your word. To tell you the truth, our Zhao family is definitely going to marry Emo Feng Chao. Whether you marry her or not, we will see. Second elder Zhao slapped the coffee table and said viciously. Second elder Zhao, let me tell you the truth. Emo Feng Chao is not going to marry the Zhao family. If the Zhao family has any tricks up their sleeves, just use them. The Emo family is not to be trifled with. Even if it's not enough, we still have the East Continent's main family. The Zhao family shouldn't go too far. Emo shouting did not want to be outdone. Since they had fallen out, there was nothing to be afraid of. Emo Chung stood by the side, his head covered in sweat. He hated Yun Chujo to death. It was all that wretched girl's fault. If she had married him, there wouldn't have been such a thing. Good. Very good. Emo shouting, let's wait and see. Second elder Zhao saw that Emo shouting had already said everything he wanted to say, so he did not stay any longer. After leaving behind some harsh words, he turned around and left. Emo Chung was just about to chase after him when Emo shouting scoffed. He had no choice but to stop in his tracks. Father, second elder Zhao doesn't sound like he's angry. What if he really wants to punish the Emo family? Useless thing. This is all your fault. I'm warning you, stay away from the Luo family. If you cause any more trouble for me, I will take back all the shops you own. Just wait for the wind to blow in your direction. Emo shouting wished he could give him a few kicks. What a useless fool. Emo Chung did not dare to talk back. He was so embarrassed that he did not dare to speak. Emo Chung returned to his courtyard and Luo Shi immediately came up to him. Husband, how is it? Is it set for the 8th of next month? Set for what? Father has gone back on his word again. He doesn't want to marry that rebellious daughter, and has even fallen out with second elder Zhao. I'm so angry. What? Why did father go back on his word? Didn't I tell you to keep an eye on her in the study? Luo Shi could not help but turn anxious. This was related to the Luo family's interests. She had made a guarantee in her family. That unfilial daughter wrote some business plan. After father read it, he changed his mind. All right. I'm already annoyed enough. Stop asking. Emo Chung said impatiently. Luo Shi did not dare to say anything more, but in her heart, she blamed Emo Chung for not keeping an eye on him. What a good-for-nothing. The next day, Emo shouting summoned all the members of the Emo family to the main courtyard. He said he had something important to announce. Everyone was confused. What was the family head going to announce? Of course, Emo Chung knew what Emo shouting was going to announce. He gnashed his teeth in anger, but there was nothing he could do. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. After everyone had arrived, Emo shouting went straight to the point. He immediately said, after a few days of investigation, I have decided to increase the number of candidates for the position of the next family head by 1. From today onwards, Feng Chao will officially become the candidate for the position of the next family head. What? Everyone immediately exploded. Emo Chung said loudly, Father, what did you say? Feng Chao is just a little girl, yet she has the same qualifications as us? What ability does she have to be on the same level as us? That's right, Father. Taking 10,000 steps back, no matter how smart and capable Feng Chao is, she will be married off in the future. How can we let her become a candidate? If you want to choose someone from a different generation, don't you still have a few grandchildren? Emo Peng was also anxious. Emo Peng and Emo Chang's sons also revealed indignant expressions. Grandfather was too biased. Besides, this family business was passed down from generation to generation. Mo Fangchao was never in their turn. Mo Shouting scoffed, why? Just because she was able to sell the defective goods that you brought back for a sky-high price. Just because she was willing to sacrifice her own happiness for the Mo family. Just based on these 2 points, which one of you can do it? Mo Peng and the others were stunned. Father, the plain brocade was sold for a sky-high price because it increased the absorption of spiritual energy. What does this have to do with Fangchao? A bunch of idiots. Don't you know what exactly came in? Keep your mouth shut. If anyone dares to act recklessly outside, I will kick them out of the Mo family. Mo Ziyading's head buzzed as he looked at the bunch of idiots. These people combined were not as calculative as the grass. They were all idiots. Mo Peng and Mo Chong were still a little confused, but they did not dare to say anything when they saw Mo Xiao and Mo Chong. Instead, they turned their gazes towards the smiling Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou felt that if these people's gazes turned into knives, she would become a sieve. Fangchao, say a few words. Mo Shouting said to Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou knew that this was Mo Ziyading's assessment of her, so she wasn't afraid. Everyone must think that I don't have the qualifications to be a candidate for the position of family head. I won't say too much. Let's speak with facts. As far as I know, my uncle, my third uncle, and my father each have 3 shops. I will ask my grandfather for a shop. We will use a month's time. I guarantee that the profit of my shop will be more than all 9 of your shops combined. If I can't do it, I will voluntarily give up the qualification to be the candidate. However, if I succeed in this matter, who will still doubt my ability, then don't blame me for being ruthless. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. In the end, her expression turned serious and her aura became fierce. No one present had seen Yun Chuzhou before. They were all stunned and no one said a word. Good. The Mo family will have this aura. Let's do as Fangchao says. I will give her a shop for a month and see if she can do it. Mo Shouting agreed. He also wanted to see if Yun Chuzhou was bragging. Mo Peng rolled his eyes. Father, we also want to see how capable Fangchao's niece is in business. However, you can give her any shop, but you cannot give Jin Shou Manor to her. Luo Shi whispered something to Mo Cheng. Mo Cheng's eyes lit up as he agreed. That's right, Jin Shou Manor is currently earning a lot of money every day. Father, why don't you let Fangchao take care of the grocery store? Mo Peng and the others couldn't help but laugh at Mo Cheng's misfortune. The grocery store operated a variety of groceries and talismans. The groceries weren't worth much, so it was too difficult to make money. As for talismans, there was no need to mention them. The Zhao family was definitely going to cut off their supply. Without a supply, no matter how powerful they were, they wouldn't be able to use them. Mo Shouting furrowed his brows. Other shops were fine, but the profit of this grocery store was not even comparable to the 9 shops combined. Wasn't this a little too harsh? Grandfather, since father has said it, let's do it. Yun Chuzhou said nonchalantly. Since you have no objections, then it's settled. I'll leave the grocery store to you to manage, Mo Shouting said. He wanted to see what method Yun Chuzhou would use. Mo Peng and the others pursed their lips in their hearts. Did this Mo Fangchao really think she was a god? Without the supply of talismans, how could she expect to earn more money than the 9 stores with just a few items? In her dreams. After the crowd dispersed, Yun Chuzhou followed behind Mo Shouting into the study room. Grandfather, my spiritual power is too low. If I go out, I won't be confident. Just give He Shi to me. Yun Chuzhou said cheekily. All right. You have a point. I'll give you He Shi. Mo Ziyading's heart skipped a beat. It was a good idea to give He Shi to her. He could also keep an eye on her and report to him if anything happened. After calling He Shi and Mo Shouting said, from now on follow Fangchao. If anything happens to her, I won't let you off. After thanking Mo Shouting, Yun Chuzhou let He Shi out of the study room. He Shi, I heard that Hexian has plenty of empty rooms. You can pick any room you want. From now on, you will be at my beck and call. Do you understand? Yun Chuzhou placed her hands behind her back and put on a pretentious look. Yes, Miss Fangchao. After He Shi successfully sold the plain brocade, he had made up his mind to follow Yun Chuzhou. That was why Yun Chuzhou had asked Mo shouting for him today. As for Mo Xiaoting's plan to spy on Yun Chuzhou, it was a good opportunity for Yun Chuzhou to backstab him. Remove the Feng Cao and call me miss. Yun Chuzhou was annoyed by the word Feng Cao. Not called Mo Feng Cao, called Yun Chuzhou. As soon as Yun Chuzhou heard he Xian, Mo Fengqin said angrily, "Sister, are you free? Didn't you dig a hole for yourself? Why did you make a bet? I'm so angry." Third sister, you don't understand this, do you? As you can see, those people are not satisfied. If I don't show them my real ability, they will continue to pick on me. Most importantly, the Zhao family might have some tricks up their sleeves. I have to prove myself in a short period of time. Big sister, you have a point. But you can't pick a grocery store. Without talismans, how are you going to make money? Let me ask you, how are you going to make money? Mo Fengqin was about to explode. What's the rush? Without talismans, we still have those sundries. Besides, we can start a business that makes money. Anyway, it's a grocery store. We can do anything. It's a good place to show off our skills. Yun Chuzhou said with sparkling eyes. Mo Fengqin glared at her. They have restaurants to eat, clothes to buy, and medicine to buy. What else can you do in a lousy grocery store? Third sister, don't look down on the grocery store. Although things like oil, salt, soy sauce, and vinegar are not eye-catching, they can still make money if done well. Don't worry, if I say it can make money, it will definitely make money. Let's go. There's nothing to do. Follow me to the grocery store to take a look. Although Mo Fengqin did not believe him, she still followed Yun Chuzhou out of the Mo residence. As a bodyguard, He Shi naturally had to follow her. Previously, he usually followed Mo shouting out, but this was the first time he followed the young miss out, so he felt a little uncomfortable. However, the person he was following was someone who could show off. They had agreed to go to the grocery store, but the moment he left the Mo residence, he became a wild horse. He wandered around and kept buying things. Mo shouting had given her more than 10 million spirit stones anyway, so he had no intention of returning it. How could she ask for it back? No way. Yun Chuzhou saw a rouge shop in front of them, so she brought Mo Fengqin in while He Shi waited outside. This rouge shop wasn't small, and there were many customers inside. When Yun Chuzhou and Mo Fengqin were choosing, they heard a sharp voice say, "Hey, are you that country bumpkin Mo Fengqin? This rouge shop belongs to our Luo family. You are not welcome. Get out." Yun Chuzhou turned around and saw a girl in red looking at her with disdain. The girl's looks were not bad, but her sharp and mean look was really displeasing. Mo Fengqin's expression changed. "Elder sister, this is mother's niece, the eldest daughter of the Luo family, Luo Yan." Yun Chuzhou giggled. "Your name is Luo Yan? Why aren't you called Chenyu? If you were really that beautiful it would be fine, but you look like you're playing around. You actually have the face to have Luo Yan. You're really shameless." Yun Chuzhou had suffered enough in the past few days. Now that she had finally met someone to vent her anger on, she naturally would not hold back. She could use this opportunity to shed all pretense of cordiality with the Luo family. If it were not for the old white lotus, Madame Luo, I would have already been married to the pretty boy. Damn it, it was time to settle the score. The onlookers could not help but burst into laughter when they saw Yun Chuzhou's novel and interesting words. Luo Yan's face flushed red. "You bitch! How dare you mock me? Kneel down and admit your mistake immediately, or I will not forgive you." Yun Chuzhou pouted. "You're really an interesting person. You scolded me first. If you want to admit your mistake, you should admit it to me. You, Mo Fengqiao, if you don't admit your mistake, I'll tell Aunt and let Aunt punish you severely." Luo Yan said fiercely. Yun Chuzhou sighed. "Sigh. A motherless child is so pitiful. Everyone, you probably don't know me, right? I am Mo Fengqiao, the Mo Fengqiao that had just returned from the Tianyuan continent. You have all seen it yourself. Luo Yan is so arrogant, so what does she rely on? It's still her aunt, which is also the Luo Shi, my second aunt. Speaking of which, it's truly a bitter tear. Go to Jinchuan City and ask around. Second aunt has been extremely harsh on me, nearly causing me to lose my life. Thankfully, my grandfather and grandmother brought me over. If not, I would have been sold out by the Luo clan. Forget it. If I really offended Luo Yan, second aunt might not torture me. Miss Luo, I'm afraid. I was wrong. Please spare me. Mo Fengchao, you are spouting nonsense. My aunt is not like what you said. Luo Yan immediately felt that things were not looking good when she saw everyone whispering. Miss Luo, you were the one who said just now that you wanted your aunt to punish me severely. Why are you not admitting to it now? Everyone tell me, did she say that just now? Yun Chujo asked the onlookers. The onlookers wished that the matter would blow up. One by one, they stretched their necks and shouted, yes, she did say it just now. We all heard it. This was clearly the first time Luo Yan had encountered such a situation. Normally, when two women had an argument, wasn't it supposed to be between the two of them? Why was there still the matter of the bystanders? Besides, why were these people speaking up for the country bumpkins? At this moment, the bystanders' discussions became even louder. I've heard from my brother-in-law's eldest cousin that Miss Fengkeo's life in Jinchuan City is miserable. Is that really the case? Quick, tell me, how miserable is it? I heard that those maidservants dared to insult Miss Fengkeo, much less pay for food and clothing. I heard that Miss Fengchao bought a welcome gift for Luo Shi, and she was even scolded to the point of spewing blood. That's nothing. I also heard that the Luo clan sent Miss Fengchao to the forest outside the city to undergo a trial. She's not allowed to return to the Mo residence until she completes her mission. Wasn't Miss Fengchao only at the second level of the Spirit Paragon realm? She was only allowed to kill fey beasts above the 27th level. It was obvious that she was torturing her. Luo Yan's face alternated between green and white as she roared in exasperation. Shut up. My aunt will not mistreat this country bumpkin. As the saying goes, the eyes of the masses are always sharp. Everyone has witnessed the dirty deeds your aunt has done. Why else do you think Luo Shi was chased back to the Luo family? It's because her actions were too excessive. Mo Fengqin could not help but curse inwardly. Fuck, this country bumpkin was really mean. Regardless of whether it was Luo Yan or Luo Shi, they were unable to defend themselves. Could it be that they could still say that Luo Shi had left in a fit of pique because she was disrespectful to her mother-in-law? Filial piety was the most important thing. If she said that, her reputation would be even more tarnished. Luo Yan nearly fainted from the rebuke. You are spouting nonsense. I'll tear your smelly mouth apart. As Luo Yan said that, she pounced at Yun Chujo. Yun Chujo nimbly dodged as she shouted, everyone watch this. Luo Yan was the one who made the first move. I did not retaliate. The spectators immediately went online as they discussed indignantly. Ms. Fengchao is truly kind and magnanimous. She did not retaliate despite being bullied to such an extent. I reckon Ms. Fengchao is afraid that Luo Shi will punish her. How pitiful. Miss Fengzao, you should retaliate. If not, it would be too aggrieved. Mo Fengkin's eyes twitched violently. Are your eyes just for show? A country bumpkin is kind? A country bumpkin is magnanimous? A country bumpkin is pitiful? This guy is a black heart who eats people without spitting out their bones. Luo Yan, I'm warning you. I've been tolerating you for a long time. If you don't stop, I'll fight back. When Yun Chujo saw that the public opinion was almost ready, the two little devil horns on her head began to show. Luo Yan didn't know that this guy was pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. She thought that she was bluffing and said arrogantly, I'm going to teach you a lesson today. You're a country bumpkin who talks nonsense. Before Luo Yan finished her words, Yun Chujo flashed behind her and kicked her butt. Luo Yan was kicked directly and flew out of the rouge shop. Luo Yan was not bad. She adjusted herself in the air and did not fall down. She staggered a few steps and stood still. However, being kicked out by Yun Chujo in public, one could imagine the shame and anger in her heart. Country bumpkin. Originally, I did not use my spiritual power on account of my aunt. Since you are courting death, then I will fulfill your wish. Luo Yan said and released a spiritual power python towards Yun Chujo. When the surrounding crowd saw Luo Yan release her spirit beast, they quickly dispersed. If they were accidentally injured, it would not be worth the loss. Miss Fangchao is only at the 2nd level of the Spirit Paragon realm, while Luo Yan is at the 5th level of the Spirit Paragon realm. I reckon Miss Fangchao will suffer. Miss Fangchao's movement technique is quite fast, but with such a huge difference in spirit energy, she will most likely suffer. TSK, I reckon that Miss Fangchao has been beaten up. That Luo sure won't help her vent her anger. She might even punish her. Just as everyone was discussing, they heard Yun Chuzhou shout, "Hey sure Fangqin, what are you all standing around for? Are you all going to watch me get beaten up? Come over here. Let's gang up on this little bitch." The onlookers were dumbfounded and at a loss. Damn it, the only one who could say that she was bullying the little bitch so righteously was probably this Miss Fangchao. Emo Fangqin was still better. After being stunned for a moment, she came over to help. Hey sure, on the other hand, was stunned. "Miss, you want me to help you beat up the Luo families, miss? Do you think this is a good idea? Hey sure, what are you still standing there for? Hurry up. If you don't come over now, your miss will be bullied to death." Yun Chuzhou shouted loudly. The corner of He Shi's eyes twitched violently. That Luo Yan was about to lose her life, all right? Although He Shi was complaining in his heart, he did not dare to disobey and stepped forward to join the battle. Every time Luo Yan came out, she would bring a maid with her. However, she did not bring anyone with her today. This time she was really unlucky. In the blink of an eye, she was pressed to the ground by Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou stretched out her hand and slapped her several times. "Luo Yan, I will turn you into a dead fish right now." The manager and the staff of the rouge shop initially thought that Luo Yan would win for sure, so they did not come over to help. When they saw that the situation was not right, Luo Yan was already pinned to the ground. "Stop! Let go of our young miss quickly." The manager of the rouge shop rushed over with 2 staff. "Hey sure, can you beat these 3 down by yourself?" Yun Chuzhou said as she beat up Luo Yan. He Shi was about to cry. Although it was not a problem for him to beat up these 3 small figures, but dear ancestor, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to pierce through the heavens? What are you standing there for? Beat him up. Her aunt usually bullied me, and now she and the servants of the Luo family are also bullying me. This is simply too much. Beat him up. Anyway, I have these righteous and kind people to testify for me. Yun Chuzhou said as she cupped her hands towards the onlookers. The onlookers originally thought that they could only watch a literary show, but now it turned into a full-on martial arts show. Naturally, they were happy that the more lively the show, the better. One after another, they shouted, "Miss Fangchao is right. The Luo family is too much of a bully. Beat him up." He Shi had no choice but to go up and beat up the 3 little dregs. He Shi felt that his future as a bodyguard would be colorful. With such a master, he would not be able to stop. The manager of the rouge shop and the 2 waiters did not have high spiritual power. Not long after, they were beaten down by He Shi. On the other side, Luo Yan's face was swollen like a pig's head. She was screaming so loudly that it was not human. "Emo Fangchao! Bitch! I will not forgive you. Just you wait, I will kill you." Yun Chuzhou immediately took out a large kitchen knife and rubbed it against Luo Yan's face. "Little bastard, if you continue to talk nonsense, I will draw a little bastard on your face. You dare? If you hurt me, our Luo family will not forgive you." Luo Yan's voice trembled as she said. "You can try. If you scold me one more time, see if I dare to make a move," Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. However, in Luo Yan's eyes, the smiling Yun Chuzhou was a devil. She didn't dare to gamble. Although one's appearance could be restored after eating pills, which woman was willing to take such a risk? Luo Yan saw that the shopkeeper and the shop assistant of the rouge shop had also been beaten to the ground, so she cowered. "Ink fragrant grass, you're ruthless. I admit defeat today." Luo Yan cursed in her heart. "Bitch, just you wait, this matter isn't over." "Admit defeat? You said it verbally and it's over? You caused me a huge mental injury, so you have to compensate me with spirit stones. Otherwise, I'll have to take action." Don't worry, my drawing skills are very good. I will make the little bastard's drawing vivid and lifelike for you. Luo Yan almost fainted from anger. No matter how good the drawing was, he was still a bastard. No matter how good the drawing was, it could not be drawn on her face. How many spirit stones do you want? Luo Yan gnashed her teeth in hatred. The three of us 5 million each. But we are also considered relatives. I will give you a 99 to 81 discount. You just have to give me 10 million. How about it? Not much, right? Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Luo Yan choked and fainted from anger. Yun Chuzhou was stunned. She fainted just like that? Her mental endurance was really not good. Shopkeeper, when your eldest miss heard that I asked for so little, she was so touched that she fainted. Since that's the case, you can pay. If you don't pay, I will draw a little bastard. I believe that your eldest miss will be quite pleasantly surprised when she wakes up. Yun Chuzhou held a large kitchen knife and gestured at Luo Yan's face as she said. The manager of the rouge shop was about to cry. Pleasantly surprised? If the eldest miss wakes up and finds that her face has been disfigured, she would probably have to kill them. Forget it. Just give her the spirit stones and let the masters go to the MO residence to settle the score. Coincidentally, Luo Yan was here today to collect the profits of the rouge shop during this period of time. So the manager of the rouge shop really did have 10 million spirit stones in his hands. After Yun Chuzhou received the spirit stones, she cupped her hands and said to everyone, thank you for your kind words. If it weren't for your support, if I didn't feel the power of justice, I wouldn't have dared to fight back. Thank you very much. Hey sure, help me give everyone 10 spirit stones each. I'll treat everyone to tea. Hey sure was still in a daze. And the young miss had extorted 10 million? Wasn't this money too fast? However, wasn't she afraid that the Luo family would come after her? The moment He Shi heard Yun Chuzhou's words, he felt that his brain was even less capable. Pay money? Was the young miss crazy? There were several hundred people surrounding them. Each of them had 10 spirit stones, which meant that they had several thousand spirit stones. Wasn't this all going down the drain? However, he still obediently followed Yun Chuzhou's instructions and gave the bystanders spirit stones. Yes, he paid out of his own pocket. The melon eaters felt that they were really too lucky today. Not only did they get to watch a good show for free, but they even got spirit stones. Heavens, such a good thing could not be found even if one tried to look for it. The melon eaters immediately shouted, Miss Feng Chao, you are really generous. Miss Fanguseo, don't worry. We have all seen who is right and who is wrong. The Luo family is taking advantage of their power to bully others. They are really too much. That's right. This is completely self-defense. There's nothing wrong with it. Luo Yan had just woken up when she heard the words of the onlookers. She was so angry that she fainted once again. Only then did He Shi realize that the young miss was using the spiritual stones as hush money. No, to be precise, it was to buy people's hearts. No wonder Luo Yan was so angry that she fainted again. The young miss was using the Luo family's money to slap the Luo family's face. It was simply too despicable. At this time, Luo Yan woke up again and said through gritted teeth, Mo Fengchao, can you let go of me now? I'm sorry. I forgot that I was still riding on you. Yun Chuzhou stood up from Luo Yan's body. It was unknown whether it was intentional or not, but she stepped on Luo Yan's right hand. Luo Yan grimaced in pain in her heart. She hated Yun Chuzhou to death. Yun Chuzhou greeted the onlookers and left with Mo Fengqin and He Shi. After Luo Yan stood up, she covered her face and ran away. The onlookers' eyes were full of gossip. Luo Yan will complain when she goes back. The Luo family will not let it go easily. That's for sure. I think she will bring some people to the MO residence to demand an explanation. There will be a good show to watch. Although the MO family is powerful, the Luo family is very powerful recently. This show will be exciting. I have to eat something quickly. I will wait in front of the MO residence. Yes, I will go too. On the other side, Yun Chuzhou was in a great mood. Third sister, did you see that? You have to come out frequently. In just a short while we have earned 10 million spirit stones. This is a good deal. Mo Fankin's eyes twitched violently. This is not a deal, this is a scam. Third sister, take this 1 million. Don't worry, follow me and I will definitely make you a rich woman in the future. Hey, sure, you did well just now. Take these 200,000 spirit stones. Of them, I'll give you 100,000 as a reward. The other 100,000 will be used in the future. Mo Fangqin and Heisher were stunned by Yun Chujia's generosity. Damn, this was too generous. This was too terrifying. Heisher's monthly salary was only 500,000. It was obvious how shocked they were. Isn't that too much? Mo Fangqin was stunned for a long while. All these years, her monthly salary had been deducted by the Luo clan, so she only received 100,000 spirit stones a year. Suddenly, she received an additional 1,000,000 spirit stones. It felt like a dream. This is just a small amount of money. It's not worth mentioning. I'm so poor that I only have money left. Yun Chuzhou said smugly. Big sister, although it's good to earn money, the Luo family will not let it go. What if grandfather punishes you? Don't worry, since I dare to beat her, I have a foolproof plan. Let's go to the grocery store. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile, not caring at all. Mo Fangqin and Heisher could only follow her to the grocery store. The grocery store was not too far from the Rouge store, so the three of them soon arrived at the grocery store. The name of the grocery store was also very easy to remember. It was Emoja's grocery store. Yun Chuzhou walked in with big strides. The grocery store was quite big, but half of the area inside was where talismans were sold. The remaining miscellaneous items took up half of the space. It was likely that business was not very good, and there was not a single customer inside. The shopkeeper of the grocery store was also a fat old man. When he saw Yun Chuzhou and the other two enter, he came over to welcome them with his belly puffed out. Although he didn't know Yun Chuzhou and the other two, he did know Heisher's bodyguard. Yun Chuzhou took out the token Mo shouting had given her. Shopkeeper, grandfather has handed this grocery store to me to manage. Can you give me a basic introduction? After the fat shopkeeper took the token and checked its authenticity, he smiled like a flower. Miss Fangqin, please take a seat. Yuan Bao served the tea. After Yun Chuzhou and Mo Fangqin sat down, a waiter served the tea. The fat shopkeeper said with a bitter face, Miss Fno, as you can see, our grocery store's business is really poor. It turns out that the sale of talismans is not bad. However, the price of the talismans at Luo's grocery store has been reduced recently. Each of them is 10% cheaper than ours. Therefore, this business is becoming more and more difficult. Yun Chuzhou nodded. How's the grocery business? The sales volume of the grocery store has always been average. Moreover, there are many people who bought the talismans at the opposite side and bought the groceries at the same time. Therefore, our most grocery store is deserted. By the way, what's your surname? How should I address you? Yun Chuzhou was already prepared for this. If it was a profitable store, Mo Chang wouldn't have mentioned it. My surname is Pei. Yun Chuzhou spat out the tea in her mouth. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm really surprised. Shopkeeper Pi had already expected this. If he hadn't been with the Mo family for so many years, Mo shouting would not have made him a shopkeeper. To a businessman, this surname was indeed a little taboo. Shopkeeper Pei could not help but feel embarrassed. He thought to himself, could it be that this Miss Fang Chao was also afraid of this? Could it be that she would not let him continue to be the shopkeeper of the grocery store? Shopkeeper Pei, bring the ledger over for me to take a look. Shopkeeper Pei felt even more nervous when he saw Yun Chuzhou asking for the ledger. He handed the ledger to Yun Chuzhou with a trembling hand. Yun Chuzhou could not help but frown. Could it be that there was something wrong with the ledger? Yun Chuzhou looked through it once and did not find anything unusual. She could not help but ask in puzzlement, Shopkeeper Pei, do you have something you want to tell me? Why are you trembling? Shopkeeper Pei wiped the sweat from his forehead. Miss Fang Chao, I know that my surname is a little taboo when doing business, but I have been working diligently all these years. I have not done anything wrong to the family head. Now that business is bleak, I'm also very anxious, but my parents gave me this surname. There's nothing I can do about it. Yun Chujo finally came to a realization. She couldn't help but straighten her face. Shopkeeper Pei, I'm really sorry. I lost my composure just now. Whether your surname is Pei or Zheng, this has nothing to do with business. I won't hold it against you because of this. As long as you listen to my arrangements, this grocery store will definitely earn a lot of money every day. Trust me. Yun Chujia's simple words touched Shopkeeper Pei so much that tears welled up in his eyes. He was on the verge of howling. Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin looked at each other. Damn it, is this fat old man crazy? Why was he crying as he spoke? Miss Fangqiao, based on your words, I, Pei Yongfa, will listen to you from now on. You don't know that the shopkeeper of the Luo family, whose surname is Zheng, has always mocked me. The other shopkeepers of the Mo family have also mocked me. In addition, the business of this grocery store is not good. I feel really aggrieved. Shopkeeper Pei said with tears streaming down his face. Yun Chujio could not help but want to laugh. It was such a big deal, yet this fat old man was still crying. What did a good business have to do with a surname? There was really no place to lie. Shopkeeper Pei, don't be sad. I promised grandfather that the monthly income of our grocery store would be more than the combined income of uncle and the other 9 stores. Do you have any good ideas? When Shopkeeper Pei heard Yun Chujio's words, he sat down on the ground and howled even louder. Shopkeeper Pei thought to himself, looks like the master really doesn't want to use me anymore. Otherwise, why would he bring up such an impossible bet? Not to mention that this grocery store wasn't profitable to begin with. Even the earnings of the Jinsho Manor couldn't compare to the 9 stores. Shopkeeper Pei forced himself to stop crying. Miss Fangqiao, if you want to earn more money in a short period of time, then you can only lower the selling price of the talismans. With a small profit you can sell more. Other than that, there's no other good way. Shopkeeper Pei, you might not know this, but the Zhao family will cut off our supply of talismans soon. So after we sell all the talismans in stock, our grocery store will have no more talismans to sell. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Shopkeeper Pei howled again. He was even sadder than before. It's over, it's really over this time. This grocery store was going to close down soon. Yun Chujio ignored him and walked to the counter. She looked around and found that the sundries here were quite complete, but the quantity was a little small. Shopkeeper Pei howled for a while, but when he saw that no one was paying attention to him, he could only get up embarrassedly. With a sad face he said, Miss Fangqiao, our store only has about 1,000 talismans in stock. Even if we sell them all, it will only be higher than the profit of one store. Yun Chujio nodded and asked, how much liquid capital do you have in your account? I submit the profit every 2 months, so I still have about 5 million in my hand. Miss Fnreo, are you planning to use this money to buy talismans? I'm not buying talismans. I'll lend you another 10 million, and you can take this 15 million to buy groceries. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Shopkeeper Pei's eyes widened. He felt that Yun Chujio was most likely crazy. Was she crazy? Every time, the store would only buy 2 million worth of groceries. The groceries were all cheap and trivial items. Why would she buy so many groceries? Who was going to buy them? Shopkeeper Pei, if you want to stand tall in front of that Zheng, just listen to me. I promise I'll make you a fortune. Shopkeeper Pei gritted his teeth and stomped his feet. All right. I will listen to you. How long will it take for the goods to enter? No more than 8 days. All right, you can handle this matter yourself. When you return, look for me at the Mo residence. Yes. After Yun Chujio gave her instructions, she stretched lazily. Third sister, let's go. I will bring you to a restaurant for a meal. Mo Fangqin thought to herself, a country bumpkin really has a big heart. Putting aside the matter of the grocery store, the Luo family might have already gone to the residence to demand an explanation, yet she still had the mood to go to a restaurant. However, after interacting with her for the past few days, Mo Fangqin knew that Yun Chujio was a man of her word. No one could stop her from doing what she had decided to do, therefore, she could only follow her to the largest restaurant in Fengli City, Drunken Heaven Restaurant. He Shi had intended to wait downstairs, but Yun Chujo glared at him and had no choice but to follow him to the private room on the second floor. Yun Chujo ordered a large table of delicacies, but He Shi refused to eat with Yun Chujo, and the others no matter what. Yun Chujo simply asked the waiter to make a table for He Shi. The three of them had just eaten when the door of the private room was pushed open. "Mo Fangchao, you bitch. Hurry up and return the spirit stones that you extorted from me," Luo Yin said angrily. Behind her were 2 maids and 8 guards. "If I return the spirit stones to you, our debt will be written off?" Yun Chujo glanced at Luo Yin. This fellow actually did not go to the Mo residence to make trouble, but directly came to stop me. Humph. Dream on. After you return the spirit stone to me, kneel in front of me and kowtow to admit your mistake, and let my maid beat your face until it is swollen. I will let you go. Although Luo Yan's face was smeared with the swelling ointment, it was still burning with pain. She hated Yun Chujo deeply in her heart. What if I don't agree? Yun Chujo curled the corner of her mouth and said indifferently, "Don't agree? If you don't agree, I will beat you until you agree. Not only that, I also want your clothes. Let everyone see you, bitch, naked." Luo Yan looked at Yun Chujo with jealousy. This bitch man didn't deserve to have such good looks at all. TSK, I didn't expect that your Luo family members have the habit of taking off people's clothes. But Luo Yan, did you choose the wrong person? If you want to strip, you should strip a man. Why don't we have a discussion? Look at my bodyguard. He is very handsome and has a good figure. You can strip him. Yun Chujo pointed at He Shi, who was standing next to her. He Shi almost fainted from anger. "Miss, you can't play like this. Bodyguards also have dignity. Men also have chastity." Luo Yan was stunned at first, then she said angrily, "Bitch, cut the crap. I'm asking you, do you agree or not?" "Luo Yan, are you only bringing these few people?" Yun Chujo looked at the people that Luo Yan brought. 2 of the maids were at the 5th level of the spiritual venerable realm, and she couldn't see through the cultivation of the 8 bodyguards. "Humph, it's enough for us to deal with the 3 of you. Are you going to agree or not? How about this? This is the territory of the restaurant. Let's go down and talk. Buddy, come here and help me pack these dishes. I want to take them back to eat." Yun Chujo shouted while pulling her neck. Everyone in the room was dumbfounded. What kind of time was it? And this person still wanted to pack the dishes. Should they praise you for being diligent and frugal, or should they say that you're heartless? The waiter of the restaurant walked in with trepidation and helped to pack the food for Yun Chujo. "Alright, the food is also packed. Let's go out and talk." Yun Chujo walked in front with swagger, showing no signs of fear at all. If it were any other place, Luo Yan would have directly taken action. However, Drunken Cloud Restaurant was neither the property of the Mo family, nor the Luo family. It was said that the owner had a very deep background, so she agreed to Yun Chujia's suggestion. Everyone rushed to the main street. Luo Yan said fiercely, "Mo Fangchao, it's out now. Do you admit your mistake or not?" "Admit my mistake? I'm not wrong. What mistake is there to admit?" "Luo Yan, I was lenient with you this morning. If you know what's good for you, then get lost quickly. Otherwise, you won't be able to settle it with 10 million spiritual stones." This guy was delighted. He had just lent shopkeeper pay 10 million spiritual stones, and this guy came to deliver the money. He really came at the right time. Mo Fangqin and He Shi were about to cry. Although He Shi's spiritual power was the highest, there were 11 people and only 3 of them. It was difficult for 2 fists to fight against 4 hands. Wasn't he looking for trouble? "Miss, you and Miss Fangqin run quickly later. I'll hold them off," He Shi said to Yun Chujo in a low voice. "Tell me first, what is the spiritual power level of those 8 guards?" Yun Chujo asked secretly. 8th level of the spiritual venerable realm. He Shi gritted his teeth. "You don't even know their strength, yet you dare to challenge them. You're really good." So it's the 8th layer of the spiritual venerable realm. I thought it was a high level of spiritual power. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. I have something good to deal with them. Yun Chujo said as she took out a thick stack of talismans from her storage ring and handed it to He Shi. Then, she took out another stack and handed it to Emo Fangqin. He Shi looked down and stumbled. This was a thick stack of high-grade burst talismans, roughly 50 to 60 of them. Miss Yu, where did you get so many burst talismans? Did you steal all the stock from the grocery store? I looted them from the Tianyuan continent. I still have them here. Take them and play with them. Yun Chujo said carelessly. These high-grade burst talismans were originally meant to be sold in the Thunder sect, but now they could be used to torture dregs. Super-grade burst talismans were too eye-catching. High-grade ones were enough. Yun Chujo also took out a stack of talismans and waved them at Luo Yan. Little bitch, did you see that? Do you recognize what this is? All of you kneel down or I'll blow you up. Luo Yan couldn't help but be stunned when she saw so many high-grade burst talismans. However, she quickly sneered and said, Bitch, you took this from your Emo family's grocery store, right? Do you think that you can scare me? We are so close. If you use the talisman, you will also be injured by the explosion. I don't believe that you dare to use it. I advise you to quickly admit your mistake. Otherwise, I will send you to the furnace, cauldron, and hall. I think trash like you are only fit to go there. What you said makes sense. Why didn't I think of this? Thank you for your reminder. Then look at what I have in my hand. Yun Chujo's eyes deepened. This little bitch is really ruthless. As Yun Chujo said this, she threw a big sack at Luo Yan, and then suddenly jumped back. He Shi and Emo Fangqin also jumped back. Boom! After the sack was broken, the chili powder inside flew out. Luo Yan and the guards were choked to tears. Even some onlookers were choked to tears. Damn! This Miss Feng Chao is too mean. I've never heard of anyone using chili noodles as a hidden weapon. Yun Chujo did not stay idle. She threw a few burst talismans at the Luo family members. She did not throw too many. If someone were to die, it would be hard to explain. It would be fine as long as they were half dead. Luo Yan and her subordinates would be in deep trouble. They were choked to the point that they could not open their eyes. How could they avoid it? Fortunately, their spiritual power was profound. Although they were screaming and screaming from the explosion, they didn't lose their lives. Hey sure, you should have no problem dealing with them now, right? Imprison them all. Damn it, how dare you delay my meal? You're really courting death. Yun Chujo said angrily with her hands on her hips. He Shi felt that his worldview had been completely refreshed. Damn it, so the chili flower's lethality was actually so great? Damn it, our strange young lady actually placed such importance on her meal. He Shi leaped forward and easily subdued the Luo family members who were in a terrible state. Seeing that everyone was restrained, Yun Chujo placed her hands behind her back. She walked in front of Luo Yan with a sinister smile on her face. TSK little bitch, you're the one who delivered yourself to my door. Don't blame me. Come on, as usual, 10 million spirit stones. Otherwise, I'll have He Shi strip you of your clothes. Bitch. How dare you? If you dare to humiliate me, our Luo family will not forgive you. Luo Yan was both embarrassed and angry. She was both angry and resentful. Never in her wildest dreams did she expect to bring 10 people here and be defeated by a sack of chili noodles. Yo, there's really nothing I wouldn't dare to do. Those from the south and those from the north, come and take a look. The young miss of the Luo family will be stripped of her clothes soon. Yun Chujo took out a large copper basin from her storage ring. She knocked on it while shouting. Cheap person, you shut up for me. Luo Yan wants to be mad. Shut up? I will send you to the furnace, the tripod, and the hall that you yearn for after I have shown you enough light for everyone to enjoy. There are not many kind people like me. The Black Lotus skill was lit up again. It feels so good. Luo Yan was in a terrible state now. Her face was swollen like a pig's head, and her body was covered in blood from the explosion. She roared hysterically, Bitch! Bitch! If you dare to do that, I won't forgive you even if I become a ghost. I'm not afraid of threats. Cut the crap. Do you want money or face? If you don't give me money, I'll start stripping you right now. I believe everyone is waiting to see. Yun Chujo pretended to strip Luo Yan's clothes. Seeing that Yun Chujo was serious, Luo Yan was so angry that her eyes were red. She shouted, "Give it! I'll give it, why didn't you agree earlier? Seriously, you wasted a few burst talismans and a big bag of chili noodles. Isn't it expensive?" Yun Chujo said with a regretful look. The journey of the masses was like this. Poor Miss Feng Chao, kind Miss Feng Chao, generous Miss Feng Chao, fuck. So it was a cruel little devil. Luo Yan didn't have that many spiritual stones on her, so she scraped together enough to give 10 million spiritual stones to Yun Chujo. Now you can leave. Luo Yan, am warning you. If you provoke me again, I'll have to raise the price. 10 million is too cheap. Yun Chujo said leisurely. Luo Yan was so angry that she was trembling. Mo Feng Chao, you're ruthless enough. Let's wait and see. Wait and see? Let's wait and see. I'm not afraid of you. Yun Chujo hugged her shoulders and shook her legs. She was as arrogant as she could be. He sure only had one thought in his mind. I probably can't protect this ancestor alone. After beating up the Luo family's eldest daughter twice in half a day, this ancestor's ability to attract hatred was too strong. Luo Yan glared at Yun Chujo viciously, and left with her subordinates staggering. Everyone, I'm sorry for causing you to suffer an unexpected calamity. Hey, sure, give out 10 spirit stones each. Express my apologies. Yun Chujo waved her small hand, and He sure began to give out the money. Miss Feng Chao, you're too polite. You're scattering the chili noodles to protect yourself. We all understand. That's right. Luo Yan has brought so many people. If you don't fight back, wouldn't you be in trouble? So the pepper is really good. Miss Fangiseo, don't worry. If anyone asks, we will definitely help you testify. It is the Luo family that has pushed us too far. It is not your fault. Yun Chujo felt that the people in the immortal Yuan continent were too sensible. They didn't even need to teach them how to speak. They were really understanding. Mo Fengqin was already used to Yun Chujia's method of controlling public opinion, so she could still be considered calm. He sure was different. Although he had just experienced a wave, he was still somewhat dumbstruck. These people didn't even want their integrity because of 10 spirit stones. If they didn't know, they would have thought that these people were all from the Mo residence. This was too biased towards Miss Feng Chao. What He sure did not know was that these onlookers also had their own little tricks up their sleeves. Damn, this Miss Feng Chao was really generous. For the sake of a small sum of money, she had to speak up for her. Moreover, perhaps there would be plenty of opportunities like this in the future. There was no harm in brushing one's face first. Moreover, this Miss Feng Chao was a vicious and merciless person. Even the eldest daughter of the Luo family dared to beat her up. What did she not dare to do? So it's better not to offend her. After He sure had given out the spirit stones, Yun Chujo rolled her eyes and said, "Let's go back to the grocery store. I have something to tell shopkeeper Pi." He sure and Mo Fengqin were too lazy to ask. Anyway, there was no point in asking. They followed her back to the grocery store. Shopkeeper Pei saw that Yun Chujo and the other two had returned. He could not help but feel puzzled. "Miss Fnao, what other instructions do you have?" "I'll give you another 5 million. You can buy me chili noodles with this money. If you really don't have it, the chili noodles will do." Yun Chujo passed another 5 million spirit stones to shopkeeper Pei. The first thought that flashed through shopkeeper Pei's mind was that Miss Feng Chao was really rich. The second thought was, buy chili noodles with this money. Was this Miss Feng Chao's brain completely damaged? How many chili noodles would she need to buy for 5 million high-grade spirit stones? Even the people of Fengli City wouldn't be able to finish it in 10 years. "Miss Fnao, is it true that all of them are going to buy chili noodles?" "Of course it's true. Quickly send someone to buy it or else they might not be able to buy it. Also, don't sell the chili noodles in the shop for the time being. Just say that they are out of stock. Do you understand?" Yun Chujo felt that after the earth-shattering battle just now, there would definitely be many people who wanted to buy some chili noodles to protect themselves, because the cost of this thing was much lower than the cost of poison. Shopkeeper Pei's face was filled with confusion. Fortunately, he was obedient and immediately arranged for people to purchase the treasures. Yes, the chili noodles. After Yun Chujo finished instructing Shopkeeper Pei, she brought Mo Fangqin and He Shi back to the Mo residence. The Mo residence was quiet. It was obvious that the people from the Luo residence had not come looking for them. Mo Fangqin and He Shi were worried. On the other hand, the culprit looked relaxed and at ease. Let's go. Follow me to see my own grandfather. Mo Fangqin thought to herself. This fellow was probably going to admit his mistake. It was better this way. She wanted her grandfather to be mentally prepared, and the punishment would be lighter. The three of them quickly arrived outside Mo Xiaoting's study room. After the guards passed the message, Yun Chujo walked in with Mo Fangqin while He Shi waited outside. Grandfather! Grandfather! I've made a huge contribution today. Yun Chujo yelled excitedly. Mo Fangqin stumbled and almost fell to the ground. Country bumpkin, you really dare to say that? You've made a huge contribution? I think you've created a huge mess. Mo Xiaoting had no idea that his ancestor had gotten into trouble after being away for half a day. He thought something good was going to happen, so he asked with a smile, "What did you make? Did you have a good idea to make money after seeing the grocery store?" "The grocery store is just a small matter. I've helped you accomplish another big matter," Yun Chujo said mysteriously. Mo Xiaoting was a little surprised. Big matter? What big matter? Grandfather, apart from wanting the Mo family to return to the Eastern continent, what is the most important thing you want to do? Do you want to destroy the Luo family? Yun Chujo asked with a smile. Nonsense. Why would I want to destroy the Luo family when I have nothing to do? Mo Xiaoting's expression was a little unnatural. Although these were his heartfelt words, the Mo family and the Luo family were in-laws, so he had to put up with it. Grandfather, don't try to hide it in front of me. The Luo family was nothing. Previously, they had tricked first uncle and third uncle, so there was no guarantee that they would be happy behind the scenes. Let me tell you, my father is marrying me off to the Zhao family. Perhaps it was also the Luo family's bad idea. They don't want the Mo family to be happy. Besides, let me say something irresponsible. The Luo family has risen so quickly. Perhaps second aunt was the one who introduced the Mo family's guests to the Luo family behind my father's back. Mo Fangqin's face froze when she heard Yun Chujo's words. Irresponsible words? Since you know it's irresponsible, how dare you say it? If there was one thing that country bumpkins were good at, it was framing. If this blame was really placed on Luoshi, the Mo family would not have a good life. Although Mo Xiaoting felt that Yun Chujo was exaggerating, he did not think it was impossible. After all, the Luo family had risen too quickly. Moreover, the Luo family had indeed tricked Mo Peng and Mo Chang. They even wanted a piece of Yun Chujo's wedding. How despicable. Grandfather, also when I went to the grocery store, Shopkeeper Pei told me that the Luo family's grocery store had cut the talisman price by 10% and robbed us of our business. Think about it, what right did he have to cut the price by 10%? Doesn't he want to make money? This means that the talismans the Zhao family gave him are definitely cheaper than the ones they gave us. Plus, the Luo family clearly wants to destroy our grocery store. Most importantly, the reason why my father asked me to take over the grocery store in the morning was because second aunt gave him an idea. Think about it, the things that happen here are really scary. Yun Chujo stopped talking. After all, the old fox's imagination was very strong, so she decided to let him think about it. As expected, Mo Xiaoting was reminded of the Zhao family. It seemed the Luo family had not only benefited from Fang Chao's marriage, they had also benefited from it. They had gone too far. Yun Chujo glanced at Mo Xiaoting's ashen face and silently gave herself a thumbs up. Now that the preparations were complete, it was time to get down to business. Grandfather, although I'm not as wise and thorough as you are, I feel that the Luo family is an ungrateful wretch. We can't let them stay. If we let them stay, they might one day bite us back. Besides, my uncle and the others are all kind-hearted people. Who knows, they might once again trick us. So today I've disregarded my safety and done something big. Yun Chujo straightened her back and said righteously. Seeing how serious Yun Chujo sounded, Emo shouting asked in confusion, "You did something big? What big thing? Did you go to the Luo family's shop and cause trouble?" Grandfather, am I such a brainless person? If I go to someone's shop and cause trouble, won't I be caught? Yun Chujo shook her head in denial. Then what big thing did you do? Emo shouting let out a sigh of relief. Although the Luo family was despicable, it was best to suppress their business. If they were to cause trouble on the surface, it wouldn't make sense. I didn't do anything. I just beat up Luo Yen twice and she voluntarily gave me 20 million high-grade spirit stones. That's all, Yun Chujo said with a smile. Oh, you beat up Luo Yen? What? You beat up the young miss of the Luo family? Emo shouting couldn't believe his ears. This little girl beat up the young miss of the Luo family after leaving the house for half a day? Not only did she beat up Luo Yen once, but she actually beat her up twice? Yes, I beat up Luo Yen twice. Her face is swollen like a pig's head. Plus, I beat up the 10 people she brought with her until they cried for their parents. Grandfather, don't you think I did the right thing? Yun Chujo said proudly. Emo shouting immediately flew into a rage. He slammed his hand on the table. Nonsense. If you beat up Luo Yen, wouldn't the Luo family be in the right? They will definitely come looking for an explanation. If they ask me to hand you over, what do you think I will do then? Grandfather, look at what you're saying. You love me the most. Can you still hand me over? Besides, the Luo family is asking for a beating. I'm just helping you vent your anger. Yun Chujo said with a cheeky smile. Emo Fankin's eyes twitched. A country bumpkin's skin was really thick. You make it sound so simple. If the Luo family comes to seek justice, what should I do? Emo shouting was also amused by Yun Chujia's shamelessness. Grandfather, well, deal with whatever comes our way. In a while you can just say whatever you want. Leave the rest to your granddaughter, Yun Chujo said with a smile. Emo shouting thought about it and felt that this was a good idea. Feng Chao was just a little girl anyway. If it didn't work out, he could just make things right again. As they spoke, a guard came over to report, Master. The Luo family's master is here. Second master is already accompanying him to the living room. Emo shouting originally thought that Yun Chujo was being ridiculous. But after hearing the guard's words, he was immediately enraged. Second brother was a traitor and a fool. Yet, when his father-in-law arrived, he immediately went to welcome him. Damn it! Yun Chujo caught a glimpse of Mo Xiaoting's expression and added fuel to the fire. Grandfather, my father is really hard-working today. Every time you call him to the study room, he doesn't come so quickly. Hearing this, Mo Xiaoting's expression darkened. Let's go to the living room. Okay. Grandfather, when the time comes, I promise I will help you anger that old bastard, Luo Pingsheng. Yun Chujo hopped behind Emo shouting and gave Emo Fangqin a cocky look. Emo Fangqin glared at her and thought, Grandfather has temporarily passed this test, but the head of the Luo family isn't so easy to deal with. When the time comes, Grandfather might not be able to handle the pressure and even teach you a lesson. Why are you so cocky? At that moment in the living room, the Luo family head, Luo Pingsheng, was maintaining his identity as he sat by the side with a solemn expression. He did not say a word. Luo Yen was hugging Luo Shi's snot in tears as she sobbed. Auntie, not only did that slut Mo Fangchao beat me, she even extorted 20 million upper-grade spirit stones. You have to make a decision for me. When Luo Shi saw that her niece's face was swollen like a pig's head and her body was covered in bloodstains, she was so angry that she gritted her teeth. However, she had deep thoughts, so even if she wished to cut Yun Chujo into 1,000 pieces, she still pretended to say, Yinner, is there a misunderstanding? Why would Feng Chao beat you up for no reason? Mo Chung, who was beside her, said furiously, Chaoyan, there's no need for you to ask. That rebellious daughter has always been arrogant and domineering. If she could even break her own brother's leg, what else could she not do? This time father will not protect her. We have to teach her a lesson. Luo sure felt proud in her heart, but she put on a troubled expression as she said, Husband, Fong Chao may have gone overboard, but she is still young and ignorant. Please don't punish her too harshly. She's already 17 years old, yet she's still young and ignorant. Chaoyan, you don't have to persuade her anymore. No matter what, you have to give father-in-law and Yener an explanation. Mo Chung said through gritted teeth. When Mo Shouting entered, he heard Mo Cheng's words. He wished he could send Mo Chung flying with a kick. This stupid traitor. On the other hand, Yun Chujia's eyes darkened. What was the use of having a father like this? She couldn't help but laugh at herself. Luckily, she wasn't a stupid and filial person. Otherwise, she would have been cheated to death by this scumbag. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Mo Chung watched as Mo Shouting brought Yun Chuzhou and Mo Fangqin in. His face immediately turned red as he said, Father, this unfilial daughter actually beat Yener up so badly on the street and even extorted 20 million high-grade spirit stones. This is too much. We have to give the Luo family and Yener a heavy punishment. Mo Shouting looked at him coldly but did not say a word. Instead, he nodded at Luo Pingsheng. The Luo family's head has graced us with his presence. Sorry for not welcoming you. Logically speaking, as a guest, Luo Pingsheng should have stood up when Mo Shouting walked in. However, he did not move and simply cupped his hands. Mo family's head, you are too kind. Mo Ziding's anger grew. Before the Luo family had made a name for themselves, Luo Pingsheng had always bowed to him every time he saw him. Who would have thought that he would be so arrogant now? How despicable. Luo Yan looked at Yun Chuzhou standing behind Mo Shouting and gritted her teeth in anger. If it wasn't for Luo Shi secretly comforting her, she probably would have strangled Yun Chuzhou to death. After Mo Shouting sat in the main seat, Yun Chuzhou eagerly pulled out a small stool and sat down beside Mo Shouting. What a joke! What if Luo Yan or the head of the Luo family flipped out? Not only would Mo Chang and Luo Shi not help, they might even help the bad guys. So, Mo Ziding's side was the safest. Mo Fangqin's eyes twitched as she quietly found a corner to sit down. This was a place where she could watch a show without getting involved. She felt like she had learned a little bit of the essence of being a country bumpkin. Mo Shouting looked at Yun Chuzhou, who was wearing her own vest. His face froze, but he did not say anything. On the other hand, Mo Chung flew into a rage. Unfilial daughter. Don't you have any rules? There are so many chairs, aren't you allowed to sit on them? What's the point of sitting there? Yun Chuzhou shivered. When I was on the street, Luo Yan hit me like she was crazy, so I decided to stay by my grandfather's side. I'm timid and scared. Everyone was dumbfounded. Couldn't you be a little more shameless? Were you scared? Luo Yan had been beaten into a pig's head. If she was scared, she should be scared. Luo Yan gritted her teeth in anger. After bowing to Mo Shouting, she said, Grandfather Mo, this Mo Fangchao beat me up and even extorted 20 million high-grade spirit stones from me. Please help Yener. Mo Shouting did not say a word. Yun Chuzhou sat on the stool and pouted. Luo Yan, can you not be so thick-skinned? This is my grandfather, what do you call him? How can you be so thick-skinned? I've seen people picking up money, but I've never seen people picking up grandfather. Mo Ziding's eyes twitched. Fangchao, aren't you being a little unreasonable? Just as Luo Yan was about to fly into a rage, Luo Shi quickly said, Fangchao, this is your fault. The Luo and Mo families are in-laws, so it's not wrong for Yener to address father as grandfather. Second aunt, my grandfather, the Yi family is the Mo family's in-laws. Since when did a concubine's family become in-laws? People should know their own limits. Don't be arrogant just because you're pleased with yourself. Be careful not to climb higher and fall harder. Yoon Chujia's face was all smiles. The words that came out of her mouth were like a knife cutting through blood. Regardless of whether it was the Luo family head or Luo Shi, their faces were burning with anger. They wished they could find a hole to burrow into. Unfilial daughter. What nonsense are you spouting? Although Chow Yun used to be a concubine, she has now been promoted. The Luo family is naturally the in-laws of our Mo family. Mo Chang roared angrily out of embarrassment. Once a concubine, always a concubine. Although second aunt had been promoted, it didn't change the fact that she was a concubine. So, some people shouldn't simply call themselves relatives. If you're not ashamed, I'm ashamed for you. The Mo family doesn't have such a shameless relative. Yoon Chujio was leaning against a big tree to enjoy the shade, so she could say whatever she wanted to vent her anger. Mo shouting looked at Master Luo's face, which had turned green with anger, and felt very comfortable. Feng Chao was right. How could a concubine's father put on airs with him? He really overestimated himself. Master Mo, it doesn't matter if you are related or not. Mo Feng Chao beat Yinner up for no reason. What do you say? Master Luo asked coldly. Mo shouting pretended to be surprised. Feng Chao, is that true? Did you really do it? Yoon Chujio cursed in her heart. The old fox's acting skills were really good. If people didn't know, they would think that he didn't know. Yoon Chujio blinked her eyes and said with a wronged expression, Grandfather, I originally wanted you to bring me to the Luo residence to seek justice. But I felt that if it wasn't a big deal, I shouldn't have bothered you. In fact, it would have affected the relationship between the two families. I didn't expect that Luo Yan would actually be so thick-skinned. As the main culprit, the unreasonable side actually licked their faces and came to denounce me. It's really amazing. You, bitch. You're spouting nonsense. You were clearly the one who hit me and even extorted 20 million spirit stones from me. Luo Yan was so angry that she was trembling. Ayo, did everyone hear that? She called me a bitch. Previously on the street, not only did she call me a bitch, she also called me a country bumpkin. She even said that she wanted to send all my clothes to the furnace, cauldron, and dojo. Plus, she was the one who started the fight. I fought back to protect myself. If you don't believe me, you can go ask on the street. If I'm lying, I'll be struck by lightning. Yoon Chujio said angrily. Family head Luo, you heard it too. This incident was caused by Miss Yan. So, there's no need to talk about who's right and who's wrong, right? Mo shouting felt that although his son was an idiot, Feng Chao was still 100 times stronger than Luo Yan. With just a few words he had grasped all the logic behind the situation. On the other hand, Luo Yan only knew how to throw a tantrum. The head of the Luo family glared at Luo Yan. Then he said, Head Mo, even if Mo Feng Chao is telling the truth, she shouldn't have done this, right? Not to mention, she even extorted 20 million high-grade spirit stones from the Luo family. I only have 2 requests. First, I want Mo Feng Chao to apologize to Yenner. Second, I want the 20 million spirit stones back. In reality, family head Luo originally wanted to extort money from the Mo family, but he didn't expect Luo Yan to be so useless and give Yoon Chujio something to use against her. That was why he made these 2 requests. Mo shouting looked at Luo Yan, who had been beaten up like a pig's head. He didn't think the Luo family's request was too much, so he lowered his head and looked at Yoon Chujio. Yoon Chujio had always been a wild goose that plucked feathers. How could she spit out the money she received? Patriarch Luo, the 2 requests you made are unreasonable. First, Luo Yan deserved to be beaten up. Did I ask her to scold me, or did I ask her to beat me up? If you don't have the ability, then don't ask for a fight. To complain after getting beaten up, you're really shameless. Second, I wasn't the one who extorted the 20 million spirit stones. It was Luo Yan who paid me for the mental damage. It was originally 30 million, but I'm giving her a friendship price. If you're serious, then give me the remaining 10 million. Otherwise, our Mo family won't accept it. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Everyone was stunned. No matter how they looked at it, the Luo family owed the Mo family 10 million. This Mo Feng Chao had a glib tongue, inverting black and white. Master Luo's face was ashen. Master Mo, I'm not going to argue with a little girl like her. Tell me, how should we settle this matter? Mo Shouting knew that if he could settle this matter peacefully, he could just return 20 million spirit stones to the Luo family. As for whether he should apologize or not, the Luo family probably wouldn't bother too much about it. But, was he going to return the money or not? Grandfather, although the Mo family doesn't lack spiritual stones, this is not a matter of spiritual stones. This is a matter of dignity. I am the Mo family's legitimate daughter. Why should I be scolded by the niece of a concubine? If I return the spiritual stones, people will think that the Mo family is afraid of the Luo family. So, I will not return the spiritual stones. Yun Chuzhou said righteously. Want money? No way. After hearing Yun Chuzhou's words, Mo Shouting thought back to how he had been tricked by the Luo family. He said coldly, Family head Luo, I think Feng Chao's words make sense. Feng Chao is the Mo family's daughter, so it's reasonable for her to ask for some spirit stones as compensation for being insulted by Luo Yan. Please leave. Family head Luo's face turned ashen. Family head Mo, is this your final decision? You should leave some leeway, otherwise don't blame others for being heartless. Mo Ziyading's face darkened. Patriarch Luo, if you have something to say, just say it. Don't hide it. Patriarch Mo, as you know, the Zhao family has already cut off the Mo family's supply of talismans. Originally, on account of our relationship, I planned to give you some of the talismans that came in. Since you are so heartless, then let's drop this matter. Patriarch Luo sneered. He was certain that Mo Shouting would give in to his threats. Hearing the Luo family head's words, Mo Ziyading's heart wavered. After all, the talisman business was simply too profitable. Mo Chung glared at Yun Chuzhou and said, Father, hurry up and agree. The talismans are the most profitable. Apart from my father-in-law, who else can help us? Yun Chuzhou pursed her lips. She said to Mo Shouting, Grandfather, Patriarch Luo is obviously lying to us. Think about it. His talismans came from the Zhao family. If he were to secretly sell them to us, would the Zhao family agree? So when the time comes, he will use this as an excuse not to sell us the talismans. He is treating you like a fool. I'm so angry. Mo Shouting slapped the table. Luo Pingsheng, you are going too far. Feng Chao is right. When the time comes, you will definitely find a reason to break your promise and not provide us with the talismans. Luo Pingsheng, I saw everything you did. I just didn't want to expose you. Someone send the guest out. Mo Chang was so anxious that his forehead was covered in sweat. Father, what are you talking about? Father-in-law is doing this for the Mo family's good. Don't listen to that unfilial daughter's nonsense. It's not like you don't know her. You evil creature. Shut up. If you continue to spout nonsense, I won't have a stupid son like you. Mo Shouting picked up the teacup on the table and threw it at Mo Chung. Mo Chung dodged and the teacup fell to the ground and shattered into pieces. Mo Chung saw Mo Ziyading's anger, and did not dare to say anything more. He looked at the Luo family head in an obsequious manner. Father-in-law, don't be angry. My father, Humph. The Mo family head has such a bad temper. I hope your Mo family doesn't beg for the Luo family's blessing. Yenner, let's go. The Luo family head stood up and sneered. Family head Luo, this old man will also give you these words. Don't forget your roots or you will suffer retribution. Mo Shouting replied coldly. Since he had already said these words, there was no need for him to continue. The Luo family head left with Luo Yan in a huff. Luo sure hated Mo Shouting and Yun Chuzhou in her heart, but she did not dare to show it on her face. She looked as if she had been wronged. Mo Cheng's eyes turned red as he yelled at Yun Chuzhou, "You troublemaker. Ever since you came back, the Mo family has never had peace. I really shouldn't have brought you back. Father, your words have really hurt my heart. I'm doing this for the Mo family's good. The last time the Luo family had cheated uncle and third uncle. They also urged you to sell your daughter and tarnished your and the Mo family's reputation. Why are you still speaking up for the Luo family? If you ask me, this second aunt by your side is a vixen. Whenever she's free, she will give you a bewitching potion. Then, she will go behind your back and take all the good stuff and guests from the Mo family to the Luo family. Yet, you still treat her like a treasure. TSK, I really feel bad for you." Yun Chuzhou wanted to know what Mo Cheng's unfinished sentence was. So she wanted to anger Mo Cheng so that he would lose his mind and say it out loud. As expected, Mo Cheng was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Just as he was about to say something, Mo Shouting sneered, "Enough? Second brother, you can go back now. I still have something to say to Fang Chao." Mo Cheng did not dare to disobey Mo Xiaoting's orders. He could only glare at Yun Chuzhou coldly before he left the living room with Luo Shi. Mo Shouting was about to scold Yun Chuzhou when he saw Yun Chuzhou stand up from the small bench. "Grandfather, I know you are angry, but I have a reason for doing this. It's not too late to scold me after you hear what I have to say. Speak. Second aunt is definitely a disaster. She shed 2 tears in front of my father and he lost his mind. He then became loyal to the Luo family. To be honest, you're still alive. If you weren't here, my father's fortune would have been given to the Luo family by second aunt. It would be fine if Feng Hua got married, but what about brother Junchen? Is he going to drink the wind of the northwest? That's why we have to punish this second aunt," Yun Chuzhou said bitterly. "What do you think?" Mo Shouting had long been unhappy with Luo Shi. This woman was too scheming, yet second brother was a soft-headed idiot. Sooner or later things would go wrong. If it wasn't for the sake of Mo Fenghua and Mo Junchen's marriage, Mo Shouting would have already made his move. "Grandfather, the more you talk about my father, the more he won't listen to you. We need to find another way. I have an idea, what do you think?" Yun Chuzhou said. Mo Xiaoting's expression turned stiff as he listened. This method was too despicable. However, he had to admit that although this method was a little despicable, the effect was immediate. "Grandfather, when you achieve great things, you don't care about the small details. Although this method is a little too much for my father, for the emperor, the subjects, and the younger brother, this is what we must do." "Okay, let's do as you say. I will give you He Shi's original 5 subordinates. You can arrange for them to do it." Mo Shouting now saw the Luo family as a thorn in his side. He felt that if the Luo family had not instigated this, the Mo family and the Zhao family would not have fallen out. This was all caused by the Luo family. Mo Fengqin, who was sitting in a corner, had always been an invisible person. At this moment, she had lit a candle in her heart for Luo Shi. Luo Shi, who she thought was an insurmountable mountain, was now Yun Chuzhou. TSK, it was simply not enough. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Have you thought of a way to earn money from the grocery store? Mo Shouting asked. "Grandfather, just you wait and see. When the time comes, the grocery store will definitely earn a lot of money. By the way, Grandfather, Luo Yan probably hates me to death right now. If she provokes me again, do you think I'll beat her up or her up?" Mo Shouting was amused. "Whether you beat her up or not is up to you. But if you get beaten up by her, I will not bring you to the Luo family to seek justice." "Grandfather, I am relieved to hear that. If she dares to provoke me again, I will just extort some more spiritual stones from her to give to you and grandmother," Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Mo Xiaoting's lips twitched. What a nice thing to say. If you had the filial piety to take out half of the 20 million spiritual stones you extorted, Mo shouting did not ask Yun Chujio for the 20 million spirit stones. Firstly, it was Yun Chujio who extorted the money herself, so he was too embarrassed to ask for it. Secondly, Yun Chujio was now a cash cow. 20 million spirit stones would be her reward. The next day, Mo Chung was given a mission by Mo shouting to go out on a shopping trip. Mo Chung was quite happy. Because shopping was a lucrative job, there was bound to be money to be made. So he left happily. When Luo Shi saw Mo Chung leave, she returned to Jinchuan City. With the ox head and horse's face gone, Yun Chujio's days were much more comfortable. Now that she was a candidate for the position of family head, the servants naturally did not dare to neglect her. Although Mo Fangshuang and company disliked her, they did not dare to take the initiative to provoke her due to her recent fierce reputation. Yun Chujio was originally worried that Luo Yan would lead people to seek revenge. She did not expect that there would be no abnormalities even after going out a few times. It was likely that Luo Yan was recuperating from the injuries on her face at home. These days, due to the Luo family's deliberate suppression, the business of Mo's grocery store was getting worse by the day. It could be described as a deserted shop. Mo Peng, Mo Chong, and the others sneered in their hearts. Mo Fengchao was definitely going to lose this bet. The grocery store was half dead and half dead. Not to mention the profits of Jujian's store, it could not even be compared to a single store. How could such a piece of trash be a candidate for the position of family head? Don't joke around. On this day, shopkeeper Pi sent someone to deliver a letter to Yun Chujio. He had returned with the goods. Yun Chujio brought Mo Fengqin and He Shi out of the Mo residence and arrived at the grocery store. Before they arrived at the grocery store, they saw many people gathered around to watch the show. Yun Chujio couldn't help but wonder what happened. Shopkeeper Pi, if you want me to say it, your Mo's grocery store should just close up. I've heard that the Zhao family has cut off your talisman supply. If your grocery store doesn't have any talismans, what's the point of opening it? Shan Yonghu said sarcastically. Zheng, don't gloat over there. We'll see about that. Shopkeeper Pei said angrily. To be honest, he didn't know whether this Miss Fengchao was reliable or not. Could these groceries really make money? Shan Yonghu, who was also shopkeeper Zheng of Luo's grocery store, curled his lips. TSK, if you ask me, the Mo family's biggest mistake was letting you be the shopkeeper of the grocery store. What kind of person did they use? They actually used a person with the surname of Pei as the shopkeeper. It would be weird if they didn't close the store. Shopkeeper Pei was so angry that he stomped his feet, but he didn't know how to refute. Then, he heard a clear voice say, "What does it matter to you what kind of person our Mo family uses to be the shopkeeper? Shopkeeper Pei is a conscientious and responsible person. Why can't we use him? Do you think that your surname is Zhang and your grocery store's business will be good? Let me tell you, sooner or later, your Luoji grocery store will close down." Shopkeeper Pei looked up and saw that it was Yun Chujio who had spoken. His nose turned sour and his eyes turned red. Yun Chujio could not help but curse in her heart. This fat old man loved to shed tears too much. Shopkeeper Zheng's face turned red from Yun Chujio's rebuke. Miss Fengchao, anyone can say such big words. However, this is the truth. Our Luo's grocery store is flourishing, while your Mo's grocery store, TSK, is completely deserted. Humph. You're really short-sighted. Our Moji grocery store is currently planning a reward activity. Right now, all the employees in the store are preparing for the reward activity, so we can't really take care of this business. Open your snobbish eyes and see which of our two families will have the last laugh. After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she brought shopkeeper Pei into the grocery store. Shopkeeper Zheng spat. Bah! You're really boasting. You can make money by relying on groceries? That's hilarious. If the groceries can make money, the sun will rise from the north. Seeing that there was no more fun to watch, the people who were watching dispersed. However, they were very curious about what kind of activities Yun Chujio was talking about. What kind of activities did this Mo's grocery store have? Miss Fong Chow, I bought the groceries and chili noodles according to your instructions. Do you want to count them? Shopkeeper Pei calmed himself down and said, there's no need to do an inventory. Give me a few sacks of chili noodles and I'll keep them for a rainy day. As for the spirit stones, you can deduct them from the money I gave you. Shopkeeper Pei could not help but look at Yun Chuzhou in a new light. He thought that Yun Chuzhou would take the chili noodles for free. It was not that the chili noodles were worth much, but that this kind of example made Shopkeeper Pei have more confidence in Yun Chuzhou. Miss Fnvo, what do we need to do next? What kind of activities do you want to hold? Is it a price reduction or a gift? Shopkeeper Pei asked in confusion. In the immortal Yuan continent, most of the activities were to reduce the price or give away some worthless trinkets. Yun Chuzhou shook her head. Those activities are too common. Our Mo's grocery store is going to hold an event that will shake the entire Western continent. Big sister, don't keep us guessing. What kind of activity is it? Mo Fongqin was about to go crazy from anxiety. After talking for a long time, what kind of reward activity was it? Yun Chuzhou smiled and spat out 2 words. A lottery. A lottery? Mo Fongqin and the others were dumbfounded and confused. They had never heard of this term. What did it mean? Yun Chuzhou slapped her thigh. The term lucky draw was unfamiliar to them, so she explained, it's just drawing lots. It's a stroke of good luck. Come, let me explain the rules of the lucky draw to you. After listening to Yun Chuzhou's explanation, everyone still felt that this matter was a little unreliable. Big sister, what you said is exaggerated. But would anyone come to buy things for an uncertain prize? Third sister, greed is human nature. Don't worry. This reward activity will definitely be popular throughout the entire Western continent. However, this thing is just a layer of window paper. If we make it first, we will earn a lot of money. Those who follow the trend will not have such a good effect. Yun Chuzhou said confidently, Elder sister, if it is really as popular as you said, then the things in the grocery store are not enough to sell. When the time comes, will we go to buy more? Yun Chuzhou smiled mysteriously. These things are enough. I still have a good way to get the white wolf for free. Empty-handed? Everyone was even more confused. Could this fellow be trying to cheat people? But when Yun Chuzhou revealed her thoughts, everyone was stunned. Shopkeeper Pei was so excited that tears streamed down his face. Miss Fong Chow, you're really a business genius. Our grocery store is saved. Yun Chuzhou smiled smugly. This is just a small matter. Come, let's divide the work. In 5 days, the lottery draw will officially begin. 3 days later, the people of Fengli City and the nearby cities received a Emojes lucky draw flyer. The gist of the flyer was, as long as you buy all the goods in Emojes grocery store for 1,000 high-grade spirit stones, you will get 1 lucky draw opportunity. The number of lucky draws can be accumulated by more and you will get more. 1 special prize, 100,000 high-grade spirit stones, 5 first-class prizes, 10,000 high-grade spirit stones. Second prize, 10 second prize, 5,000 upper-grade spirit stones. Third prize, 53rd prize, 1,000 upper-grade spirit stones. Fourth prize, 204th prize, 300 upper-grade spirit stones. Fifth prize, 505th prize, 50 upper-grade spirit stones. Last prize, 1,000 last prize, 5 upper-grade spirit stones. For a moment, many people in the streets and alleys were talking about this. This Moji grocery store is quite novel in the lottery. I've never heard of such a rewarding activity. What it says is quite tempting. What first prize, second prize, but can they win the lottery? It can't be a lie, right? Won't we know when we see it? Besides, even if they win the last prize, they'll get 5 high-grade spirit stones for nothing. That makes sense. But, isn't Emojes grocery store stupid? If they do this, won't they lose money? Who cares? If we win the lottery, if they don't cash in, they'll destroy his shop. Emo shouting naturally heard about the huge commotion and quickly sent someone to call Yoon Chujio into the study room. When Yoon Chujio entered, Emo Zieting's expression was dark. By the time Yoon Chujio came out, Emo shouting was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. He was proud that leaving the herb behind was the best decision he had ever made. This little girl was a once-in-lifetime business genius. Emo Peng, Emo Chong and the others were gloating over Yoon Chujio's misfortune. They felt that Yoon Chujio was throwing stones at their own feet. This bullshit raffle was simply a scam. If they didn't sell the goods, they would end up losing a lot of spirit stones. What a fool. The Luo family members also watched coldly from the side. They felt that this raffle was simply nonsense. As a result, the Mo's grocery store would soon close down. 2 days later, the front of the Mo's grocery store was filled with people who were watching the show. However, there were very few people who really went in to buy things, and most of them were on the fence. In the middle of Moji's grocery store was a huge box that was guarded by a special person. After the customer had finished buying things and paid the money, the accountant would give him a ticket for the lucky draw according to the amount of money he had bought. The customer would then take the ticket and come over to the lucky draw. The people who were watching the show craned their necks to see if anyone could win the prize. 10 customers did not win anything in a row. The people who were watching the show immediately felt that this lucky draw was most likely a scam. Some people decided to disperse. At this time, a hawk-nosed man holding a wooden tablet in his hand shouted in surprise, "Third-class prize. I won the third-class prize." Shopkeeper Pei smiled like a god of fortune, beaming as he handed over 1,000 high-grade spirit stones. "Congratulations. Congratulations. This customer is really lucky." Hawk-nosed was so excited that he was incoherent. Really give it to me? 1,000 high-grade spirit stones? Shopkeeper Pei said with a smile, "Our shop is honest. You won the lottery, so of course this spirit stone is really for you." Hawk-nosed laughed excitedly. "I spent a total of 1,100 spirit stones to buy these things. Now, isn't it equivalent to only spending 100 spirit stones? It's really worth it." When the onlookers saw that some people had really won the lottery, some people were tempted. However, most of them still remained on the sidelines. The following customers also occasionally won the lottery, but most of them were 5th class or last class winners. Some people began to question, could it be that there was no big prize at all? At this moment, a fatty shouted excitedly, "Oh my God! I won the first class prize." Everyone's gaze was focused on the fatty. First prize. That was 10,000 high-grade spirit stones. Was that even possible? Shopkeeper Pei still had a smile on his face, but in everyone's eyes, he seemed to be forcing a smile. Everyone couldn't help but gloat over his misfortune. He hadn't sold much of this item, and now he was going to lose 10,000 spirit stones. This Mo's grocery store was going to pay a huge sum of money. Shopkeeper Pei took the wooden tablet and examined it. He gritted his teeth and said, "Congratulations, sir. You have indeed won the first prize. This is 10,000 high-grade spirit stones. Please keep it well and welcome your next visit." The fatty was so excited that his face flushed red. "Ha ha ha ha. I didn't expect to make a small fortune from buying this item. I want to buy some more things. Maybe I can even win the special prize." After saying this, the fat man couldn't wait to go shopping again. This time the onlookers couldn't hold back anymore. The owner of Mo's grocery store was so stupid and rich. What were they waiting for? Hurry up and buy. Otherwise, the special prize and the first prize would be gone. The crowd was about to squeeze into the store. Shopkeeper Pei wiped the sweat off his forehead and shouted, "Everyone! Everyone! Our store is small. Don't crowd around. Line up and enter the store in order." The crowd was about to go crazy, so they weren't willing to listen to his advice. Fortunately, Yoon Chujio was prepared for this. She borrowed a team of guards from Emo shouting and managed to control the situation, allowing the shop to become orderly. Not only that, She also asked Mo shouting to transfer a few waiters and a few bookkeepers from other shops. So, even though there were more and more customers, the shop was still in good order. As the number of people winning the lottery increased, the customers went crazy. Right now they weren't thinking about what they were buying. All they wanted was a lucky draw card. What are you buying? Don't ask. Just give me whatever you want. I just need 5,000 spirit stones. Yes, yes, don't dawdle. Give me 10,000 spirit stones for that rice bowl. How troublesome. Give me 20,000 spirit stones for those chopsticks. Hurry up, or else the grand prize will be taken away by others. Shopkeeper Pei wiped his sweat as he thought to himself, have these people gone mad? Chopsticks worth 20,000 spirit stones? Are you trying to use chopsticks to start a fire? Looking at the bustling scene in Mo's grocery store, the Luo family, Mo Peng, and the others were dumbfounded. At first, they thought that the lottery was like throwing a stone at their own feet, but now they realized that even if all the prizes were taken away, Mo's grocery store would still make a profit in the end. In fact, it was a huge profit. Although Mo shouting did not go to the grocery store to take a look from afar, he could see that the entire street was lined up with people waiting to enter the store to buy something. He couldn't help but feel elated. Feng Chao was a brilliant idea. The grand occasion lasted for 3 whole days. Not only the people of Fengli City, but also the people from the surrounding cities also flocked to the shop. For a time, Fengli City was full of people. Shopkeeper Pei looked at the daily income and smiled happily. On the other hand, he felt that at this rate, the stock in the shop would soon be sold out. Then what should he do? Or should he organize people to stock up now? Miss Feng Chao, our stock can only be sold for another 3 days at most. Should I arrange people to stock up now? Shopkeeper Pei looked for Yun Chuzhou and asked anxiously. Yun Chuzhou shook her head with a smile. It's too late to overdo it. Soon these people will wake up and regret buying so many useless things. Even if we stock up, we might not be able to sell them. Then let's just let go of this great opportunity to make money? Shopkeeper Pei said unwillingly. Although he had been busy for the past 3 days, it was too exciting to watch the huge amount of spiritual stones coming in every day. Of course we won't let go. I have a way to make more money. How much paper do we have left? Yun Chuzhou asked with a smile. About $1,000 for the paper and quite a lot of raw paper and rice paper. The more Shopkeeper Pei looked at her, the more he felt that Yun Chuzhou's smile was like a little fox. It was the kind of red-furred little fox. $1,000, that's 100,000 pieces. It should be able to last for a while. But it's still far from enough. Send someone to secretly purchase another $50,000. Shopkeeper Pei asked in puzzlement, what do you need so many thick paper for? To make money. To make a lot of money. To make a lot of money empty-handed. Yun Chuzhou's eyes were sparkling, as if she could already see a large number of spirit stones waving at her. Shopkeeper Pei was even more confused. Using paper to make money, and also to make a lot of money? How is this possible? Miss Feng Chao must have really gone crazy this time? Another 3 days passed. The goods in Moji's grocery store were almost sold out. There were still many people waiting outside the store. When they heard that the store was out of stock, they were all red-faced and displeased. They came all the way here for the lottery. Now you're telling me that there's nothing left to sell. Aren't you just looking for trouble? Some people began to jeer, threatening to smash Mo's grocery store. Shopkeeper Pi was running around anxiously. It's over. It's over. I told you I was going to stock up, but Miss Feng Chao just brought back a pile of thick paper. How are we going to end this? Right at this moment, Shopkeeper Zheng of Luo's grocery store shouted, Everyone, our Luo's grocery store has also launched the same lucky draw. Our prize money is even higher than Mo's. First come, first served, hurry up and buy it. Some people were tempted. It was the same lucky draw anyway. Who cared if it was Mo's or Luo's? Thus, some people turned around and entered Luo's grocery store. Shopkeeper Pei was so anxious that he was about to hit the wall. Wasn't this pushing the money out? Mo Peng and Mo Chong were also in the crowd. Seeing this, they couldn't help but gloat. This grass was still young and inexperienced. She actually did not arrange for anyone to replenish the stock, and wasted such a good opportunity to earn money. Otherwise, she might have won the bet. It was really close. Shopkeeper Zheng of Luo's grocery store was very pleased when he saw that the number of customers had started to increase. A little girl was just a little girl. When she thought about things, she was just not thorough enough. She had helped Luo's store a great deal for nothing. Haha. Just as shopkeeper Zheng was feeling pleased with himself, he saw Yun Chuzhou jump onto the roof of Mo's grocery store. He could not help but be stunned. Could it be that this Mo Fong grass had been stimulated to the point of madness? The people in line were also stunned. They all looked up at Yun Chuzhou, who was on the roof. Yun Chuzhou cupped her hands at everyone. She said in a clear voice, "Everyone, are you all wondering why our Moji grocery store didn't restock? Does anyone still think that our Moji grocery store is stupid? Why didn't we restock when we were making so much money?" Yun Chuzhou's words immediately attracted everyone's attention. That's right, since they knew, why didn't they restock? Yun Chuzhou swept her gaze across everyone, then she sighed. "Everyone, to be honest, my biggest advantage and biggest weakness is that I'm too soft-hearted. Although our Moji grocery store earns a lot of money every day, seeing that you guys bought so many things that you don't need at all, I feel extremely tormented in my heart. There was an uncle who bought chopsticks that cost tens of thousands of spirit stones. How long would he need to use them for? Therefore, I suggested to my grandfather that even if he earns more money, he can't continue this lucky draw. If he does that, he will scam a lot of people." Everyone was stunned at first. Then they began to discuss animatedly. After hearing what this little girl said, it really makes sense. You said that we bought so many useless things, then we would have to throw them away for nothing. That's right, we bought a bunch of them and spent a lot of spirit stones. But in the end, we only won a few last prize. It's really not worth it. This Mo family still has a conscience. They correct when they find a problem. That Luoji is too disgusting. They are simply taking advantage of the situation. That's right. If it wasn't for the little girl who broke through this layer of window paper, we would have been fooled again. Look at that manager of Luoji Shanyanghu. One look and you can tell that he's not a good person. Shopkeeper Zheng's heart was like a muttering dog. This darn girl is really too mean. It's fine if you don't earn money, but you actually don't want us to earn money. With her words, who else can come to the lucky draw in the future? Moreover, she has even tarnished the reputation of our Luo family. It's really too detestable. Shopkeeper Pei saw that Shopkeeper Zheng was so angry that his face was red and his neck was thick. He was very happy in his heart. He deserved it. It would be better if he angered you to death. However, Shopkeeper Pei soon began to worry. Miss Feng Keo's clamor had indeed cheated the Luo family. However, their money-making business had also been blocked. The money they earned these few days was at most more than the two shops. Weren't they still going to lose this bet? At this moment, someone in the crowd said, "Miss Feng Chao, although your heart is good, we just want to play an exciting game to block our luck. It's really a pity that your lucky draw event isn't going to be held." "Yes, Miss Feng Chao. If only we could have a lucky draw without buying anything." "Forget it, Miss Feng Keo's brain is not broken. If you don't buy anything, what right does she have to give you a reward?" Yun Chuzhou was very satisfied with the performance of these children. This rhythm was pretty good. This fellow smiled and said, "Everyone, to be honest, I have also considered this point. Therefore, our Moji grocery store will be launching a lucky 7-star card lucky draw from today onwards. The prize money is very generous. Everyone doesn't need to buy groceries. They only need to pay 10 spirit stones to get a chance to win a super big prize. Don't miss it. Our guards will send you a flyer. Take a look first and then I'll explain the specific rules to you. Yoon Chujio waved her hand, and Haesher led the guards to send the flyer that Yoon Chujio had prepared long ago to the onlookers. Shopkeeper Pei took over a flyer, and his eyes lit up when he saw it. This Miss Feng Chao was simply inhuman. Shopkeeper Pei was now completely convinced. No wonder Miss Feng Chao said that this was a good way to make a lot of money. Every time she would take out half of the total sales as a bonus. Therefore, the Moji grocery store was guaranteed to make a profit. Moreover, there were also people who did not come to redeem the prizes. That was all biased. After nearly an hour, Yoon Chujio continued, everyone, I believe that you have all finished reading it. Some people will definitely say that this Moji grocery store is really smart. This way, every time the prizes are awarded, it is guaranteed to make a profit. That's right, I admit this. After all, we are merchants, so of course we have to make a profit. However, don't forget that we also have a cost. The venue, the manpower, these are all predictable costs. There are also uncontrollable risks. For example, if someone tries to cause a ruckus, or if the spirit stones received are stolen, it is understandable that we have to work hard to earn some money. As for whether you are willing to buy it, that is up to you. The opportunity only favors those who are prepared. Otherwise, even if God wanted to give you $1 million, He wouldn't be able to give it to you. Cut the crap. An hour later, the first phase of the Lucky 7-star card will be officially sold. The prize will be announced on time 3 days later. Those who don't come to receive the prize will be considered to have given up automatically. Once the prize expires, there will be no waiting. After Yoon Chujio finished speaking, she jumped off the roof and began to arrange for people to set up the sales scene. The process was very simple. After the customer paid the money, they could receive a card with a stamp on it. The customer would choose 7 numbers from 1 to 32, and then the staff would fill in the 7 numbers that the customer had chosen. One lucky 7-star card would be considered complete. Many people did not quite accept this method and felt that it was a little unreliable. Previously, when buying groceries, even if they didn't win the lottery, they could at least get groceries. If they didn't win the lottery, wouldn't it be a waste? What can 10 spirit stones do? As long as we buy one, we might be able to earn 10 times, 100 times, or even 10,000 times. I think it's a good deal. That's right. The more people buy it, the more money we'll win. If I buy 100 spirit stones first, I might win a grand prize. That makes sense. It's actually better than the previous method. 1,000 spiritual stones can buy 100 cards. We'll win a few at least. As soon as someone took the lead, someone followed the trend and bought a few cards. However, the number of people who bought them was still very small. It was not even 1,000th of the original number. Yoon Chujio knew that many people still held a wait-and-see attitude. If the number of people who bought the first batch was too small, the prize money would not be much. This lucky 7-star card would probably be aborted. It seemed that they still had to find a child. Third brother, what do you think? Mo Peng, who was standing behind the crowd, asked Mo Chong. Humph, let me say that this fragrant grass is purely idle. It would be great if they just restock honestly. They would definitely be able to earn a lot of money. If they were to create a lucky 7-star card now, the number of people who bought it would only be 1,000th of the original number. Moreover, after the prize was announced, the number of people who would buy it might be even less. After all, who would waste 10 spiritual stones for no reason? Mo Chong curled his lips and said. Mo Peng nodded in agreement. I have the same opinion as you. This so-called lucky 7-star card will only sell for 3 episodes at most before it has to be cancelled. It's really like throwing away a watermelon to pick up a sesame seed. Many people had the same thoughts as them. They all felt that Yoon Chujio had really made a wrong calculation this time. She had wasted a good opportunity to make money. Unexpectedly, the next day, dozens of people came with large amounts of money. Each of them bought at least 10,000 spiritual stones worth of lucky 7-star cards, and the sales rose sharply. When the sales cut off on the 3rd day, a total of 100,000 lucky 7-star cards were sold, which meant that the prize money was actually as much as 500,000. On the day of the award ceremony, Mo's grocery store was completely surrounded. Even the roofs of some of the stores and some of the tree branches were filled with people. Everyone wanted to see if this so-called 7-star lucky card was reliable or not. Seeing that it was almost time, Yoon Chujo made some noise. Then she took out a box and said with a smile, "Everyone, now let's welcome the head of the Mo family, who is also my grandfather, to the award ceremony. Welcome everyone." After speaking, Yoon Chujo took the lead and started clapping. The crowd could only follow suit. Although Mo shouting had seen a lot of big events, this was the first time he had been welcomed like this by the crowd. A sense of satisfaction and pride filled his heart, and his impression of Yoon Chujo increased by another notch. Mo shouting cupped his hands at the crowd and reached into the hole. He then began to take out a ball with a number written on it. Mo shouting pulled out a ball. Shopkeeper Pei stood to the side and shouted out a number. As the 7 balls were pulled out, a fat woman cried out, "Oh my God! Oh my God! I've won all 7 numbers. I've won the special prize. Ha ha ha! I'm rich." One after another, people in the crowd cried out in surprise, "I've won the first prize. I've won the second prize. I've won 2. Ha ha ha, I'm actually a special prize as well." All of a sudden the entire crowd was in an uproar. Those who didn't buy it on one hand were filled with envy, jealousy and hatred. On the other hand, they still held a doubtful attitude. Would this Moji grocery store really cash in on the prize? Although the special prize was split equally among a few people, each person's prize money was in the tens of thousands. Would they really give it to them? Unexpectedly, as long as they won the grand prize, they would receive the money they deserved. The fat woman who won the grand prize was so happy that she almost went crazy. "Haha, 10 spirit stones for 85,000 spirit stones. We really made a fortune." Everyone was both envious and regretful. If they had bought it, they might have won the prize. There was only one thought in everyone's mind, and that was to buy. 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 At this moment, Manager Jung of Luo's grocery store said loudly, "Wait. I suspect that there's something wrong with that ball. Maybe they marked the ball and could secretly manipulate some numbers to win the lottery." Everyone immediately exploded. If that was the case, wouldn't they be fooling everyone? Yoon Chujo curled her lips. It's true that the heart of a petty person measures the stomach of a gentleman. Our Emoji's way of doing things is above board. We wouldn't do such a sneaky thing. How about this? You guys recommend a few highly respected people to come up and take a look at these balls. Very soon, everyone recommended 3 old men. The 3 old men took out the balls and compared them with the balls in the box. They didn't find anything unusual, no matter if it was the size or the weight. These spheres are all exactly the same. They weren't tampered with. The 3 old men came to a conclusion. Yoon Chujo thanked the 3 old men with a cold smile. She said, "This person, you have to set your conscience straight. Don't think that others are black just because you are black." However, this also gave Emoji a reminder. In the future, when the lottery draws again, we will randomly choose 7 people to come up and touch a sphere each. This way you don't have to worry about the possibility of cheating. Everyone nodded their heads in agreement, feeling that this was a good idea. This lottery draw was a matter of luck to begin with. If there were any tricks, it would be too immoral. The crowd no longer had any worries as they began to purchase the lucky 7-star card in a frenzy. However, there was no need to rush to purchase it this time. After all, there was no limit to how much you could buy. As long as you had the money, everything was fine. Shopkeeper Pei finally understood why Yoon Chujo had asked him to buy so many pieces of paper. At this rate, the amount of paper he had was simply not enough. Seeing that everything was going smoothly, Yoon Chujo accompanied Mo shouting back to the Mo residence. After entering He-Xian's office, Mo Fangqin asked curiously, "Big sis, you really didn't do anything to the ball? Then why were 2 of the 3 people who won the grand prize with us?" Yoon Chujo curled her lips. "Of course we did. 70% of the lucky 7-star cards were bought from our own pockets. If the grand prize was won by someone else, wouldn't that be a huge loss? Then how did you do it? Why didn't the 3 old men find any flaws?" Emo Fangqin was still puzzled. It's very simple. I put the 7 balls in after I heated them with fire in advance. Grandfather took out whichever one was hot. When the 3 old men came up to check, the balls were already cold. Yun Chujo said with a smile. Emo Fangqin's eyes twitched. This guy is really mean. He can think of such a method. Sister, I have another question. The lucky 7-star card is very easy to make. What if there is a counterfeit winning card to receive the prize? The country bumpkin definitely did not think of this question. I actually thought of it in advance. Missouri Fangqin felt that she was awesome. Third sister, of course I thought of this. First of all, the stamps on the lucky 7-star card are different every time. If someone wants to forge it, the time is limited so it won't be so realistic. Second of all, even if he forged the stamps to be exactly the same, he wouldn't have thought that when the staff wrote the numbers, they would deliberately make some marks. Everyone's marks are different. Some people might write the strokes more straightforwardly, some people might have deliberately made the dots bigger. Finally, shopkeeper Pei would add a medicinal herb into the ink used by the staff. The color of the paper would change after it was dipped in water. Only one thought flashed through Emo Fangqin's mind. A country bumpkin was not a human. A human could not be so smart. She was not a human. Oh right, third sister, there is actually the simplest way to distinguish. That is, we always award the cards on the spot. Therefore, the ink on the forged cards would not dry so quickly. It would be very easy to be discovered. What I did was just in case. Emo Fangqin felt that she should not think about anything unrealistic in the future. Even if she had 10 heads, she would not be able to play with this monster. At night, Yun Chujo lay on the bed tossing and turning, unable to fall asleep. She did not know what the gigolo was doing. What he did must be very dangerous. Would he be hurt? Yun Chujo took out the voice transmission talisman. After hesitating for a while, she put it back. It was not because he was embarrassed but because he was afraid of distracting Di Biming's attention. Sigh. He's still too weak. Now, he can only play business and house battles. Unless he can hold the Emo family in his hands, there's no chance of a trial. Yun Chujo kept sighing. At this moment, the voice transmission talisman in her storage ring started to vibrate. Yun Chujo saw that it was Di Biming's voice transmission talisman, and her heart started to race. Pretty boy. Why would he suddenly contact me? Could this be the legendary telepathic connection? Yun Chujo quickly sent her divine sense in, and Di Biming's stiff voice came from inside. Don't be lazy, cultivate properly. Yun Chujius, originally full of small romantic feelings, instantly turned into anger and grievance. Damn it, pretty boy, which eye did you see me being lazy? I want to cultivate, do I have time? If I'm a little careless, these bastards from the Emo family will kill me. Other people's boyfriends were always asking about their well-being, but this pretty boy was good. He broke up easily and was so fierce that he didn't know how to care about others. He was so annoying. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. He simply put the voice transmission talisman back into his storage ring and ignored Di Biming. On the other side, Di Biming was nervously staring at the voice transmission talisman. His clothes were covered in blood, and there were both his own and others. Seeing that the voice transmission talisman did not respond, he was a little worried. So he took out the voice transmission talisman and sent a message to Enfong. Is she okay? Your Excellency, Ninth Miss is very well. She recently held some lucky draw and earned a lot of money. The corner of Enfong's eyes twitched. How could Ninth Miss be okay? She was having a great time. Di Biming's face darkened, and his whole body emitted waves of cold air. Since the black thing was fine, then did she deliberately not return my voice transmission talisman? How dare it? Very good. This debt should be recorded first. After I settle this matter here, I will deal with her. Achoo. Achoo. Fuck. It must be the gigolo scolding me. Yun Chujo suddenly sat up, took out the voice transmission talisman and said fiercely, Gigolo? Can't you say something that you care about me? Di Biming saw that the voice transmission talisman was trembling, and he could not help but smile. It seemed that the black thing did not deliberately not reply to his message. There might have been something just now. Biming sent his divine sense into it and heard Yun Chujio gnashing her teeth. He could not help but frown. Not concerned about her? What did he mean? I told her to cultivate properly because I was concerned about her? How else could I be concerned about her? He told her to cultivate properly so that she could become stronger quickly so that they could be together earlier. Wasn't he concerned about her? It had to be said that the Overlord's brain was not on the same frequency as Yun Chujio's. After thinking for a while he replied, "Eat well, wear warm clothes, go to bed early and wake up early." This should be considered caring, right? After Yun Chujio heard it, she felt extremely stifled. You said that the gigolo was not concerned about her, but he was still concerned about her. However, did you say that the gigolo would talk like that? He was so dry and didn't have any intention of sweet-talking her. It was really infuriating. This gigolo was like a maniac. When he was online, he knew how to flirt better than anyone else. When he was offline, he was like a block of wood. Yun Chujio pouted and decided to give him a taste of his own medicine. Eat well and drink well. Be careful. Although Biming felt that something was wrong when he received Yun Chujio's voice transmission talisman, he still could not understand Yun Chujio's painstaking effort. Coincidentally, there was an unusual sound outside the cave. Biming put away the voice transmission talisman and started another round of fighting. Yun Chujio waited for a while. When she saw that Biming did not reply, she scolded him a few hundred times before falling asleep in a daze. The next day, Yun Chujio spent a lot of effort to squeeze into Mo's grocery store. This was because the road leading to Mo's grocery store was packed to the brim. Many people came to line up before dawn just to buy a 7-star lucky card. You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.